So it is a real silent clear. As I said, we just finished this massive report and we've submitted to people, and we just hope to make sure to see how we can come out with good measures. You know, in some places you realize that along almost every highway they plant trees to help purify the air. In some places they have good vegetation and they move people far away from the roadsides to make sure that you don't get the immediate bed. Try doing that in Accra, try doing that in Ghana. If the hawkers have their way, they will literally sit in the middle of the highway because they prioritize their wares more than their own health, because at that moment they just think that making the sale is all that matters. The unfortunate thing is that the strength and the ability and the will to address these things are also very weak and porous. The district assembly, local assemblies that are supposed to do this, they want to do that because either they are willing or unable to do it, and then they are all expecting central government to do it. So, which may also then lead to other problems of delays and whatever. And then there are even the traditional leaders who own these markets, or who claim ownership of markets, and should be seen to be helping to do it, but they won't. So, there's a long chain of challenges that you have, but at the end of the day, what is clear, what is real, is that air pollution or dangerous air pollution that has all these hazardous chemicals, really a very big health concern.
Okay, so very interesting. Doug, quick comment on that? No, okay. All right, so Daily Graphic is the last paper I have, and it says that Ghana votes 7 days more. Ghana votes 2024. And there's a quote here by Malcolm. It says that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And that is a quote on the front page of the Daily Graphic this morning. The other story is President Akufo-Addo inaugurates phase 2 of Obechebi-Lamte interchange. And yesterday I was there during the inauguration, and a lot of excitement in that part of Accra, Ablikuma Central. And ahead of December 7th polls, EC addresses ballot paper shortfalls. And according to the EC, they discovered the ballot paper shortfalls in the Bono region and the Volta region by themselves, and that it was no political party or any other person that discovered it. They discovered it themselves, and they have subsequently addressed it. So that's the front page of the Daily Graphic. Quickly, we are going to go into our conversations. And ladies and gentlemen, so it is 7 days to the elections. Exactly a week today, we will be here in this studio and our other studio, which is being constructed to begin to do the coverage of our elections. And so far, it's been several days of campaigning and canvassing for votes. I want us to start this way. Messaging. You know, there are some 5 M's that we are going to be looking at today, and that is what that's the direction I think we should take the conversation on the dynamics of the elections. So there is the message, there is the mobilization, there is the momentum, there is the money, and there is the maintaining of the momentum. We are going to see whether we'll be able to do a discussion around these M's and inform our listeners. Let's start from the message, the first M, and I'll do ladies first. So I know you speak for the MPP, so you are going to promote MPP's message, but I want you to do again also an objective analysis of the messaging, what you make of the messaging in this political space that we have found ourselves in as a country ahead of the elections. Some say 24-hour economy. Your party is talking about training of 1 million youth, talk about taxes and all those kind of things. Give me your thoughts about how messaging has gone, Doc.
Okay, so...
And I have two doctors today, so when I say Doc...
We'll all give it to him.
We'll give it to him.
We'll give it to him. We'll give it to the lady.
Sometimes I love being a woman. But yeah. Let's go on. So, you know, the messaging this time, I feel like we're heading in the right direction, because you're noticing that both parties are trying to actually come up with what they view to be solutions to the problems that we face. The MPP's messaging actually seeks to address almost all concerns in every sector. So if you've looked at what we've been doing over these months on our campaign, we take health, and then there are multiple messages and multiple themes there to address the overarching concerns there. You take roads and the same thing is done. Housing, the same thing is done. So it's a really targeted and tailored blueprint so that when we finally win and we come into power, it's easy for people to hold us accountable. It's not like we made huge overarching promises that for instance, the 24-hour economy. How are you going to hold them accountable to it if you don't exactly know where it's even going to be implemented? Let me just veer off a little. Yesterday, I saw an interview.
Yeah, Mr. Mahama says that it's voluntary. It's not by force. Yeah,
so it just goes to show the way that they haven't done very well with trying to really help people understand. And what I find that a mark that they are seriously missing is that when you actually, out of curiosity, try to engage them to understand what they mean and how they are going to implement it, they get upset and they just go on, if you don't understand this, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that's the way to go about it. When you are coming up with something that is new, it is your responsibility to make the people understand. It's not our responsibility to attach meanings to it. And then yes, if we don't even understand it, how do we hold you accountable when you win? So if you win and you just do it in the passport office, you could say that that's what you meant all along. But if you haven't made it clear now, somebody in my village is expecting that the business that they are running, selling Indomie, is going to be able to run 24 hours, which we all know is not reasonable. It's not going to happen. But you haven't made it clear. So even if we have that unfortunate incident where you come into power, holding you accountable to that policy is going to be a problem. And I think that is what a lot of Ghanaians have realized. You know, as I said, even on Wednesday, when you talk to normal people, or if you even take your phone and go on Facebook and you watch the videos that average Ghanaians are making, it seems to be clear. The messaging on social media seems to be clear, especially on Facebook and TikTok, that they don't seem to understand the NTUC's message, like what they are really banking on. It seems like they are banking on the anger of Ghanaians. They just want to say that, oh, you are angry at these people, so vote them out. We have, there's a cost of living problem going on, so vote them out. But yesterday, curiously, I also came across a video by ex-President Mahama again, somewhere in Harvard, explaining how Africa was going through a recession due to COVID. And I was shocked. So you know this, you are very much aware of this. So how have you planned your whole campaign on this matter? And what I also found curious in all of that is that he hasn't even been able to come up with a way he's going to deal with that. Because, well, forgive me, exactly what I was saying, because we don't really understand what he means by his 24-hour economy, it's not my job to try and understand how that's going to be able to solve the problem of the cost of living crisis that we have. But yeah, let's just try and speculate. How is that going to... So it doesn't seem to fit the problems that we have. And I think a lot of Ghanaians out there are seeing it. All you need to do is wake up in the morning and go on Facebook and you see what the market women are saying, the traders. They want more actionable things, as opposed to clearly coming out and telling them that you are granting them a tax amnesty next year. It's not ambiguous. It's straight to the point. And you can hold the person telling you that accountable, because it's simple. He said he will give you a tax amnesty. So next year, if he doesn't give you the tax amnesty, you can come and say, Mr. President, you said you were going to give us. It is very specific. It's not ambiguous like the other side. And I feel like those are kind of that's the nuances in the messaging that's going to play a big part, because one is clear, one lacks clarity, and it's quite ambiguous.
Okay, so in terms of messaging, there's ambiguity on one side, but there's clarity on the other side, according to Dr. Ekuya Amwaku. Professor, so we have elevated you to professor, so that we bring clarity. So
as I say, inshallah, it's possible.
Yes,
you know.
Oh, okay. So, Prof, messaging.
You know, if you look at this late in the game, the NPP is trying to do something strategic, demonstrate that they can both walk and talk, or walk and chew gum at the same time. They can govern, they can campaign. When I was coming today, and I got to East Legon, I decided to use the flyover.
Oh,
the new one.
Yeah, the new one.
Okay.
It took me all the way to Beba Camp. Then I turned and I came. It was longer, but I just knew I must have a feel of this.
Was it longer?
You see, well, no, they had to go all the way to Bemaka.
Where do you live?
Actually, Lakeside.
Okay, so you came from. You probably came from Medina. The Medina Road,
Yes,
the main road.
Lakeside.
Yeah, so you came through Lakeside.
No, I came behind East Legon.
Okay.
All the way to East Legon police station around there.
And
so
you can access
I could take underground, but I said no, I have to test
the flyover. And it was smooth though.
But instead of coming here, coming to Asasi Radio from that side, using the bridge is faster.
Yeah.
No. If I'd gone under, I used the under bridge.
No. Using the bridge.
If you use the under bridge, you'd have had to come back again and join Palace Mall.
Traffic. Before you go.
When I come out, I'll turn right, come down towards Accra Mall, then go towards airport.
Okay. So use the airport.
Weave my way around. Again,
when I got a call from Asasi, I think it was 7:45. It was like, oh doc, are you on your way? I said, relax, I'll get here. I knew how, because it took me like 15 minutes. As soon as I got there, I knew that I'm here.
And you were coming from East Legon.
I was coming from Ajengana.
Okay, good. So you also took the overhead.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are options. I'm just on the booty. You see, those were options that we didn't have just a few it was a weeks ago until it was commissioned. There were no options. The only way was that by this time, that place, I know there are times I've been coming to Asasi Radio and you find the underground choked. I've been stuck in that traffic, but even now, that traffic is no more. And that's what I'm saying. The MPP is trying to move their communications message to bread and butter issues right now. Simple issues that resonate. Very simple issues. And there are things that you can remember, you keep in mind. That's what I'm saying. There are people who work in East Legon side and work across the motorway. And they all endure, they know what it takes to get across there. All of a sudden, it's no more. All of a sudden, it's no more part of the calculations you're making. All of a sudden, you're not waking up at Ajirigon or East Legon, Lakeside, and you're thinking, oh my God, how do I get on the other side of Accra? Now you are spoiled for choices. And that is it. So if you see that, and you also see there was fanfare around, but the fanfare was limited because you wanted to feel it. If you took forever to cross there, like those of us residents there, so if you're living in those constituencies, I was West Wogon, Medina, Adventure, all those places, it's subtle message. You now have options, and those options are brought to you by our capable leadership. Those options are brought to you by people who care about what you do. Those options are there to make your life relatively better, and that's what we've done for the last 8 years. And that is the message you've seen. It's very about it's simple, it's subtle, but it's people that people can easily associate with, people can resonate. You understand? And that is what we're saying. We've been we've been campaigning for the last, let's say, since August. The vice president has been to every single constituency, sometimes more than 2 times, more than 3 times. He's hated. He was in Ashanti for 15 days. But this is despite all that, we're also still governing. We're also still working for you. And you also didn't see the message then is aim at what? So-called independent Florida people. Look at almost every vote, every poll that you've seen. There are people that are in the middle. Of course, it's normal in every elections. People who are not politically affiliated. And sometimes they break at the last minute. Okay. These commissioners you also seen, and you've mentioned a number of them. There's this one, there's the which we have not tested it, so maybe I should take it. I'm
told that on Monday there will be the commissioning of the second phase of the Tema motorway.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
So all these things also aim at those people. Because look, traffic is one of the things that drive people nuts in Accra. And people lose a lot of money, a lot of opportunities due to traffic. If all of a sudden you feel and we're just getting the Christmas season, if you feel a sudden decrease in your traffic, somebody made it happen. It wasn't God. Somebody made it happen. Purposive policy made it happen. Planning made it happen. A public policy, infrastructure policy made it happen. And then the question is, well, those who made it happen, you have to reward them. Those who made it happen deserve your praise. And that is how you are seeing these things being outdoored and moved. You understand? It helps you look. I keep seeing the Bank of Ghana building on social media. They made it look. Where is it located actually?
Ridge. It's opposite the Ridge Hospital.
Oh, look at that. I need to go and take a selfie there probably. You see, so they are the idea is that, look, this country is working. The idea is that we have the right infrastructure is in. The idea is that it's not only, remember, there was a time when there seemed to be that argument that the NDC was probably better at what? Physical infrastructure. But this is blunting that. Prempe, the second hospital or the third hospital in Kumasi is being open. So what I'm saying is that
Prempe,
The Kumasi airport.
The airport.
The first. It's open. It's been open. So the question is that if you are trying to blunt, there's that idea to say that, look, even if you are looking at physical infrastructure, we've done better or similar.
Better.
If you are looking at social infrastructure, we've done better or similar. You've seen the crusade to protect free HSS. That is the closing message. The closing message is closing on high. If it's fiscal infrastructure, we've done better. If it's social infrastructure, we've done better. But then the vice president comes in. If the NDC is taking forever to explain, 24-hour economy to you, how about this? We train 1 million people in IT skills. Not difficult to explain. It's simple. It's something we'll just do. How about this? If it's taking you so difficult to explain to you what 24-hour economy is, we are talking about what? Simple flat tax rate at the ports, simple flat tax rate at everybody. If it's taking them for long to understand what it is, these are our policies. We will create farming excellence centers in all the districts, especially northern Ghana, where people come from. They are simple, straight to the message things. Okay. Added to that, you've seen good news coming from the economic sector. The Bank of Ghana monetary policy just came out. CD strengthening. Foreign reserves have been moved over almost 4 months, 3.4 months, and so you see, it is a coordinated message that the MPP is trying to deliver. Whether it's 1 week to elections, to get that message, and that this is how they want to close that. So the messaging is the same. For the NDC, it becomes difficult because, again, I think the NDC always has to deal with the fact that when you are in a position, so it's difficult to command the media control. And what has been the message from distance? It has been conspiracy theories. The NDC's message has been conspiratorial. Oh, there's this military officer in Kumasi who has been sent there to rig the elections. We will not agree. Okay. With no scintilla of evidence, with nothing to improve that, tarnishing the image of a very, very hard-working military officer, that isn't. So what has been the NDC's closing message? It's about fear, it's about rhetoric, and it's about trying to scare people into not voting or to voting. But you see this coordinated effort between the president, the vice president, and even His Excellency J.A. Kufuor. And that is why you see that the endorsement of J.A. Kufuor rattled almost everybody. It was expected, but I don't know why it still looked like a surprise. And nobody was more rattled than the butterfly people. I'm like, what were you expecting? Because it undermined a key message they had. Their intention was that in Kumasi, force the people of Kumasi to try to choose between Alan and Bahomia. Force them to do that. J. Kufuor is saying, look, hey, Kumasi, remember the last time Kumasi fought? The last time you had the president was me. I was almost an Asantehene in the Jubilee House. You know that guy enjoyed his presidency. Oh my God! Like he was like, Jesus, like the thing was made for him. No, seriously.
Yeah, it was.
I've not seen any Ghanaian president who enjoyed it like Kufuor did. It's just like he just, oh no, guy. That guy, he chopped his head, flies the presidency.
He chopped the presidency.
Like no, seriously, like if you watch it, he just chopped it. Like he knew where to prepare for it, and there was just this, and that is why today he's probably the biggest statesman in Ghana. Yeah. By any standard, people even
the most respected.
The most respected. Even the NDC revere him. They respect him. He's the only one that NDC has gone after, and NDC has apologized publicly. Because he's becoming moral conscious. He speaks when he has to do, and he did the things like so. He rattled that cage. He told Alan, no, not you. You're not the one. It's not you. And he told the people of Kumasi, if you liked what I did, this is my guy. This is the way to go to. So
for me, for Kufuor, and I want to just make this point before you continue. The very fact that he has had his own health challenges, but even in those health challenges, you would see him present in almost all state functions that require him to be present. So his love for Ghana has not been diminished by virtue of his medical challenges. He has maintained a public presence. So like we've seen Kufuor in Gentle Giant, all this, and then subsequently he has health issues.
That's too close.
Subsequently, and what is being discussed here is not what we are talking about.
So squeezing was going on here. So I'm just saying, Jantro was being naughty.
This is a daughter-father relationship.
Jantro was being naughty.
Very innocent.
Jantro was being naughty.
Innocent.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So I'm just impressed with the fact that President Kufuor has not let his health predicament take him away from public life. He still comes publicly. What I'm talking about is that for some elderly people, if we have seen you publicly, you were active, and then you have become incapacitated. You withdraw
want to be seen
and not be seen. But President Kufuor is still being seen publicly. He he wheels his wheelchair and comes
it's a customized one. And see, the more the public see him, they love him. You realize that?
At
right?
the opening of my hospital, he came.
Yes. I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
See, the more the public.
Oh, this was
Me too,
time ago.
It was like 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. We were not invited. I'm just saying. The more the public see him, the more they love him, and with his customized wheelchair, whatever. And that is that's the appeal he was making. And you could see how the butterfly people came out flying with all the distance. And I'm saying that is how the NPP wants to end the campaign. For the NDC, that inconsistency, the inability to latch onto one thing alone. And look, someone was saying that the economy. Yes, we all agree. But Wilberforce, you're in Accra. The economy affects you different from the way it affects me. If you go to Tumuna, if you go to Saleh now, it's harvest season. People are harvesting maize. The price of maize is appreciating. A bag of maize, let's check, is about 600 Ghana cedi. It's appreciating. So if you are a young farmer now and you are sitting on your maize, you are sitting on gold. The price of sesame seed is starting to be called Nyansa there. It's exploding. A bag is about 2,000 cedis, 2,500 cedis. So people are harvesting and making small money now. So now you sit in Accra and try to talk about exchange rate. Well, in Tumu, they are not talking about exchange rate. That's not a problem. Do you understand? And so I always say this: the economy affects people differently. So if you are a farmer now and you are harvesting and you have 50 bags, 100 bags, 200 bags of maize or this and your farm there, that is your economy. The exchange rate will affect doctor in Accra, to affect Jantwa in Accra, to affect Wilberforce in Accra because they are shopping at Accra Mall and they are doing things.
I shop at Mokola.
You understand? So it will not affect you up there. And so you see this things happen. So you cannot just be on the generic, the economy is bad. Yes, the economy may be bad generically, but some people, it might be that better for them. So I think that lack of a clean cutting edge, focused information is what to latch onto at this diamond is what we are seeing, the dichotomy between what the NDC is trying to do but what the NPP is doing.
Okay, so we are talking about Mr. Jantwa. Let me welcome you. Mr. Kwame Jantwa has just joined us. What we are talking about is that if you look at our topic for today, we are discussing the political dynamics 7 days to the elections, and we have identified that there is the message, there is the mobilization, there is the momentum, there is the money, and then there is the maintenance of the momentum. So we started by talking about the messaging, and so we are analyzing what are your views when it comes to the political messaging that you have seen. Is the messaging resonating with you? Is it going to inform your choices? I know you are going to vote for CPP, but maybe you may change your mind and vote for MPP or for NDC. But so is the messaging accurate? Is it correct? Are we getting it right?
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my lovely daughter.
Yes.
Be it ABCD, I won't go further. and good morning to
your very good friend.
My very good friend.
Yes, Dr. Zato.
Dr. Zato. You know, you were talking about President Kufuor.
Yes.
That confidence runs in the family.
So his family, actually.
Yes.
His family to him.
Yes,
so
it runs in the family. And President Kufuor is the kind of man, he will not allow anything to put him down. Sometimes when you go to the house and he's there alone, he's talking with the people there, the people who serve him, they're cracking jokes. He's not the kind of man who lets things get to him. So I think we all need to take a cue from that kind of thing. Disability does not stop you from being who you are. That is why, so far as I'm concerned, we should try and pep up our brothers and sisters who are disabled, because they can do things. They have a brain in their head and they can do things. You are talking about the messaging in the election.
Political messaging, yes.
Politicians are saying what they want the people to hear. John Mahama is saying his, Vice President Bame is saying his, my own CPP, they are all saying what they want to hear. Whether a bit twasumu for them to vote for you is the question. Is the question. You said there's no Professor Zato, yeah, Professor, aren't you?
No,
soon to be.
Okay. Let me give
it. I'll accept
take it. You see, with God, you thank Him before you even see what is coming. So take it.
You call those things that be not as though they were.
Yes, as though they were. And you thank Him. You said the person in your village don't, what do you call it, doesn't catch them. Exchange rate.
I'm saying it affects them differently.
You said me.
As for you, it affects you every day, every time.
It affects them.
I'm not saying it doesn't. There's some differently.
Wait. Doesn't affect them differently. when they do electricity tariff, what do they use? What's the criteria they use? The exchange rate for water and electricity. Does it not affect them? The primary source of which they live. Well, let's take it's not everybody, unfortunately, in that part of our country who has light, but those who have light, electricity tariff doesn't affect them. I would not want to just, sectionalize it. Oh, this one is this. It's general. It affects all of us. In this country, one side cannot do better and another side not do wrong, not do better. We all need to be at part to some degree. To some degree, yes. Probably my life will be probably better because I know how to handle things better than somebody who hasn't. But all in all, it affects us all. It affects us all. Whether the messaging they are giving is achievable and sustainable is another question. Whether the promises they are making, they can fund those promises coming into power is another thing. Because sometimes, you find that they will say all the nice things to everybody, for everybody to vote for them. When it now comes, let me give you one.
Eunice Champoma says that I haven't been hearing anything from CPP yet, or for Jantua, or I haven't been listening properly.
She hasn't been listening properly. She hasn't heard anything
from CPP.
She hasn't been listening properly.
What are the CPP candidates been saying?
I said she hasn't been listening properly. Okay. We are talking about messaging.
Mr. Jantua says you are not listening properly. So please listen properly. So like the NDC's Mahama says 24-hour economy, and Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia is saying buy Ghana first. And what is CPP saying?
People will see it differently. What CPP?
Yes.
We are for indigenization, where the indigenous person takes the upper, what do you call it, of the country.
So this is a different version of domestication.
Well, it's not a question of domestication. Don't make fun of it.
No, I'm not making fun of it.
Look, buy Ghana first, I think it's on everybody's lips. It is whether the quality you're producing can gain you the kind of money you want.
So you are saying Dr. Bawumia's message is resonating?
Wait. Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay. No, what you say is on everybody's mouth.
Listen, the point I'm making is that you can say buy Ghana first. If the quality of goods cannot sell in the market, what's the use of buy Ghana first?
So buy Ghana first.
And that is where we need to look at.
So I think that the policy needs to be explained.
Yes, it is directed at government agencies first, procurement. So say Rich Hospital, you need to buy soap or even toothpick. Some of the things that the government institutions import just border on ridiculousness. Things that can be made locally. So if it can be sourced locally, by the procurement laws we are going to bring, you are required to source locally first. If you don't get it, then you can import.
The biggest target should be what? The security services.
It's my platform.
No, it's okay.
My platform, let me finish.
Sometimes you have
I would have loved it to be that way. But people's personal interests are in procurement. People's personal interests are in procurement. And they'll go to places where you can't trace where they are buying. So that, this taste buds we have, where we like eating foreign food, is also in procurement. You watch it.
But is that not the problem that this policy is trying to resolve?
That is why the mindset should change. You can only resolve that policy by a change of mindset. And that change of mindset is not only for one political party. It's something the country should take on and try and change. If we don't change the mindset, forget it. Yamutu. Forget it. That has been a major challenge of our country. And for me, this is where, and I hope going forward, and Wilberforce, I hope going forward, I've been talking about it. I hope somebody will take the bull by the horns and do it. Those national issues that affect all of us as political parties, we should be able to come out with one policy. Mindset change. If it so happens that Dr. Bawumia comes or Mahama comes, mindset change should be something that we all sit and discuss.
But which of the political parties has put up a message that is aimed at this mindset change that you are talking about?
I haven't seen.
You haven't seen any of them?
I haven't seen.
Okay.
And even if they do, they don't explain it the way they are supposed to explain it. But that mindset change is a challenge for us.
Doc, I thought I read
It's a
something
huge
about
challenge.
mindset change in the MPP manifesto.
Yes, even from the education minister's presentations. Yeah.
They have put it in the manifesto. They always put it in the
Well, not
manifesto. Wait. They always put in the manifesto. Does something happen? You see, the major challenge we have in this country is that we bring out nice manifestos. You read it like a storybook. When you read it, you don't even want to sleep because when they now come into power, it is something else.
Okay, so Kamal Dean says I should ask you a question. He says I should ask you. He says, "Good morning, my respectful Wilberforce, and good morning, Asasi. Please ask Mr. Jantua for me, between JDM and DMB, who will be trusted to manage free SHS well?" I don't know why he's
You
asking
cannot.
this.
You cannot. At this point of where we are with free SHS, nobody can say they are going to do away with it. It's not possible.
Can I take a shot at that?
Please do.
You take
Yes.
a shot at that one. I finish.
Mr. Jantua, hold on, just a second. Sometimes,
Wilberforce.
yes.
Wilberforce. Let me tell you something. I just had my birthday.
Oh, congratulations.
How old was I?
65,
67.
67. Okay.
The seniority woman.
Hey, bullying us.
This is bullying.
What's the deal?
Seniority woman.
No, but you need sometimes when you raise a point like that and somebody comes in on
You should write it down.
a point of
You should
law,
write it down. Don't bring no here.
it's like point of law.
Go the long way. You know what said to cry because they know they may floor. No. You see what will happen when we come to power. The gentleman said, "Who will handle it well?"
Yes.
It depends on what your focus is. That is why, so far as I can see, where free education is concerned, it needs to be a concerted effort by all. This is the way we need to go. We need X, we need just. So let me say something. I think when you look at the STEM bit of the free education, the Minister of Education has done well. When you look at the STEM schools that have been built, and you look at the kind of equipment in there, I just hope it can be maintained.
Have you seen the one that has been? Have you seen the one that has been built in Bosomtwe?
I have seen all.
Strategic.
Actually,
Bosomtwe is very strategic.
It's because you're from there.
Oh, you're from Bosomtwe.
No, I'm talking about the minister.
Yes.
That's his constituency.
Well, I actually went to get the video. Somebody hinted me.
Oh, I have it here. We should probably show it to
one
viewers.
MPP, one of my MPP friends hinted me. So I actually went to get the video and I watched it and I said, wow, this is good. If the MPP in power were able to do a lot of things the way the same schools have been done, they'll win the next election. But unfortunately, they haven't. Unfortunately, what has happened with the MPP is that they got so much money, they could have done more than they have done. And the procurement cancer got into them. That procurement cancer is the bane of the MPP. And that is what is making them find it so difficult. Because at this present moment, they should be riding high. Opposition should not even be close to them. They should be riding high. Are they? Would you say they are?
You would not think that it was because of the impact of COVID-19.
Oh, please don't go down that route. It had an impact, but it exacerbated the situation that was there. It had an impact. But that impact, look, when you talk about COVID-19, it's COVID-19, right? It's a primary. It's COVID-19. How many regions did we shut down? How long did we shut the regions down for? It goes to show the economy was tinkering. It was tinkering. It was a knife's edge for the kind of impact it had on us. What if it were the whole country? What if it was like the UK?
But it also had impact on other countries, such as the UK, as you just mentioned,
but
the US, as you mentioned.
Their impact is not the same as our impact.
Obviously, their economies are much bigger than ours. But it had an impact.
Whatever the case is, they didn't shut London down. They didn't shut Birmingham down. They were shutting the country down. The entire country.
There was no lockdown in the United Kingdom.
I'm saying that if they shut anywhere down, it wasn't London and Birmingham or Manchester. The entire country. Here we shut only 2 regions. 2 regions. And if the economy was strong, the recovery would be faster. Has the recovery been faster? One of the major challenges that exacerbated COVID-19 were the kind of loans we took to support the city.
Okay, so let's bring back the conversation to...
You started it.
Yes, so, I know, I understand. So, Dr. Jato, you are going to respond because you had a response, but there's a few things that some people want me to point out to Mr. Jantua. So there is Nixon who says that, good morning, Wilberforce. Okay, no. So let me start with George first. George says that, Wilberforce, you expect Jantua to accept that DMB message is resonating with Ghanaians. Never, never. He won't. Okay, so that's George. He says that you won't accept it. Okay, I don't know what Mr. Jantua has to say about it. He says, good morning, Wilberforce. Please ask Mr. Jantua if their policy is compulsory or optional, like 24-hour economy, which Mr. Mahama is saying is optional. So the CPP policy is optional, like 24-hour economy.
Listen, nobody's policy that they bring in, is what do you call it? Permanent. It's all optional. Because when they now come into power, they change policy, don't they? Does that not make it optional? They change policy.
Okay. So, Wilberforce, I've heard JDM on the campaign platform indicating that he would provide Wellington boots and poly tank for tree planting. Okay. Is that a message that you have? Is one of the Mahama's messages?
Said it somewhere.
Okay. All right.
But don't you know that is important?
But that's what the flag bearer of
people
a week before election.
People get bitten by snakes. People get bitten by so many other rodents. You think that is not not important?
I'm only asking the question. Kamaradin says that
campaign on that is what people.
That is what he wants to campaign for. So leave him.
That's what
people
leave him.
Are
disappointed.
So leave him.
Kind of
leave him. It will affect some people.
It's already
some people.
Kamaradin says that please
would
I'm asking for his personal view and not national or general opinion by comparing JDM and DMB's output in governance. Thanks. So Kamaradin says that he wants Mr. Jantua's personal opinion on who of the two will be able to manage free SHS. He doesn't want a general view. He says he wants your personal view.
Both
of them will be able to do it. Okay, that's his answer. Yes, look.
Thank you. I want to talk about something more specifically. If you give me some little bit more time to just do that, because there's something important. It's about the free senior higher education. If just somebody asks, just some Kamaldin or somebody, who will manage it better? And I want to be very emphatic and state this. The NPP and is managing the free just far better than what the NDC is proposing. The NDC is proposing something called means testing. Means testing. Means testing is the most oppressive and exploitative policy ever imagined. Approach to social policies all over the world. Means testing is the most oppressive and suppressive approach to social policy.
They do means testing in the UK.
NPP and the NDC
do means testing in the UK.
Mr. Antoine, you are the one who doesn't want anybody to interrupt you.
And the NDC,
because what he's saying is not right.
And the NDC and the NDC is trying to bring to try to means test the free senior high school, and it's most exploitative. You said it exactly, and that is why it should be resisted. It is done in the United States. Do you know how it came about? Sometimes it's important. No, it's important to just do some little bit of history. Let me explain. You see, it's knowledge. Let's look at knowledge.
But Mr. Joshua, the fact that it's happening in the United Kingdom.
Let me tell you how it came in the United States. I beg you, it's important. Yes. There's an ideology, there's a philosophical idea called the neoliberalism. The idea of neoliberalism was that the state was getting too fat, too big, and too powerful. And that then there's a need to slim down the state, to cut down the state. Okay, that is why if you go, you mentioned it. Yes, let me take you into the classroom. That's what Ronald Reagan publicly said. What government was the problem, and government is not the solution. Do you understand?
Yes.
In fact, it was so embarrassing. Now, when they were cutting down the state, they were cutting down welfare. They were not cutting down on the military budget. They were not cutting down on national security budget. They were cutting down on food, on education, on things that poor people mention. So popular was this idea of a neoliberalism that even Bill Clinton, a liberal, a Democrat, said the era of big government was over. Bill Clinton got into a big fight with Newt Gingrich, the Speaker of the United States House, over welfare entitlement. Gingrich wanted to cut everything. So finally, they came to an agreement to bring what is called means testing. It works this way. You set a basic income salary level for you to be qualified for any government subsidy. The moment you breach it, you suffer. Let's just test something like that. Say he and the wife, their annual monthly salary is 5,000 cedis. Your annual salary is 20,000.
We're talking about means testing in education, oh.
Yes, I'm talking about
children's education.
I'm talking about.
Wait. I need to clarify. I need him to clarify.
Yes.
Is it means testing of how you get students into university, or is it means testing of people's wages and people's?
I'm telling you what means testing is. I'm telling you, means testing is a formula. It's an economic formula used to help people qualify for social services. Education is one of them. So, whoever for you and your family, you make 20,000. Jan Troy's family, they make what? 5,000. Now you set the limit for means testing for you to qualify for, let's say, free HSS at what? 5,000 cities. So he and his family, they benefit. You benefit, but you don't care because already now your salary is 20,000. That's where you are. It doesn't affect you in any way. But yes, sir, you have 2 children in Presec, but it's free education. Let's say Presec charges 2,000 each. Government pays for them. That's 4,000. What happens next year if Jantro gets a promotion or the wife gets a promotion? Small promotion they got, maybe he got after taxes, he get an extra
7,000.
No, let's say
to 7,000.
No, there's no promotion in Ghana that will take you that far. Yeah. But let's say he gets an extra 500, the wife gets another 500. Now their salary is what? 6,000. Do you know what happens?
You are not eligible.
All of a sudden, they are no more eligible. They've escaped the cut. The full force of the school fees comes in. Next year, the 2 children are paying 5,000 cedis in Presec. It comes out of them. They are worse off. They've come down. It doesn't matter. Next year, maybe this year, you made a profit of what? 20%. Maybe your salary went up to 50,000. It doesn't matter. You already have the money to pay. So the fact that he just get that small extra increase, he's punished. So the only way for him to continue to benefit from that subsidy is to remain poor, is to remain below 5,000. That's how the system works. Because there has to be a cutoff. If the cutoff is so high, then there's no need for there to be a cutoff anyway. If it is so low, then nobody's there. So that's the first thing. So it means that the extra money you get, you can do better things. Maybe buy an iPad for your family. Pay for extra French classes for them.
Do the STV connection.
Whatever you are doing and get the phone. Whatever you are doing, your life is not impacted at all. Your economic life, right? His economic life is really impacted. So he says, wait a minute. Then the promotion wasn't worth it. Then there's no need to work extra hard to get extra because the moment you make any money, you report it. It does. Again, remember, if the ceiling is too low, everybody benefits. If it's too high, nobody. But you understand? That's the first thing. That's the first. So free means testing keep the poor. They keep you a level. You know what? How Shatawale says, "I know my level." It keeps you a level, and it says, "Remain here if you want to continue to get benefits." That's the first thing. Second, that's the first economic. So it punishes the poor. If you put free HSS on means testing, you are punishing the very people you want to help. It is exploitative, it is oppressive, and it is anti-poor if you do that. And if the NDC goes that route, they are looking to punish the very people they seek to. 2, the second thing means testing is that it decouples, it makes poor people's problems, and it removes rich people. Today, you are rich, your son goes to Wegehe, your daughter. Actually, I wish your son could go to Wegehe. I'm poor, my daughter will go to Wegehe. If there's a problem with free HS now, you will come on air and announce it. You will make noise about it because your daughter too is there. And they like some. Doctor is here. If her son is in Presec, free HSS, and Jantua's son is there, poor child, rich child, we are all in the same boat, right? If the problem happens, she has a voice, she will make it. So because we are all in it together now, the people are able to make so much noise about the problems for changes to come. I mean, you understand? I want to see that. Yes. So because yes, you have a voice. You one tweet, the Minister of Education is shaking to fix the thing. This issue about expired rice that came up, I just want to make it became a big news because some rich people's children were supposed to eat it. And they're like, hey, at home I eat better rice. Why should I come here? The moment you do means testing, that means you are decoupling, you are putting the rich people aside. You live within. The poor people don't have a voice. The poor people don't have the voice you have. The poor people do not have the number to the Minister of Education to call and say, hey, what is happening here? The poor people do not have the number now. Do they have the number now? No, they don't have. No. Do the poor people have the number now? Talk for them. That's the point. They don't have. People don't have the number now. They don't need to have. The rich people cannot talk for them. But that one, the rich people can't talk for them. How? What are you telling because your child is not in the same boat. You are not getting he's not getting the theory.
Don't you understand what
he doesn't understand what I'm saying?
I understand what he's saying.
No, you don't. You don't. If you do, you obviously know.
I don't agree.
But you see where I'm going with it. So now everybody's saying, look, I schooled in San Francisco Xavier Junior Seminary in the north. Okay. There were times where northern schools were closed down for no food. Southern schools were still in school. You know that. It was very common. They will close you down, no food.
Yeah,
I've never heard
time.
Achimota close down because there's
schools
no food.
being closed down today because of food.
Now all of them. Now it's all of them. Even if it's now if it's
no
all of them.
closed down.
No,
Mr.
this food crisis that we've had.
Where?
You see, this food crisis
Because
hasn't it been closed down?
No.
This year hasn't school been closed down?
All schools, all schools. If it's closed, it's all schools, not some schools. It's not northern and southern schools. That's my point. Because we are all in the same boat. Now, if you are closing down all schools, all of them, those days they will close down northern schools. Achimota will still be doing be in school. Presac will still be in school. Wesley Girls will be in school. This will still be in school. But Tamasco is closed. Big Boss is closed.
Why?
Navrongo Secondary School. Because there's no food. I'm just telling you the realities that was happening.
If there's no food, whose responsibility is it to make that? Make sure there's food.
You're not getting the intellectual analysis I'm making.
I think you should get what he's
The
saying.
intellectual, you're not getting it.
Yes.
But now, because of free HSS, all these schools are in the same boat. So you are afraid to close down at this school because there are rich people there. And because at this school is open, Bogis is open. You are afraid to close down Prosec because there are some rich people children there. Because Prosec is open, Wasec is open. You are afraid to close down Prempe College because Prempe is closed. Nandon Secondary School is closed. You are afraid to close down St. Augustine's College because St. Augustine's College is closed. Canton Secondary School in Tumis is open. So that means that because it's the same for all rich and poor, they're able to help sustain the thing. So that's one of the things. The moment you decouple it, poor people will treat it as a problem. And listen, it's like today. If there's a problem in Accra Mall, not poor people's problem, right? Not their problem. They shop in Makola. They shop in
Rich people don't shop in Makola.
No, you see,
Who said rich people don't shop in Makola?
I'm trying to explain to you.
Yes.
So what happens is that, what happens then is that at the end of the day,
Mr. Jandwa is on rampage.
I said, you can't say that they don't shop in Makola. What do you call it? So rich people.
Look, I want you to wrap up.
Rich people shop in Makola too.
So
That's a hold on.
Yes.
So I'm also not.
if you realize when
God blesses you, take it.
I'm giving you part of the intellectual analysis. When finally they came with what's his name, Obamacare, the Democrats resisted to put it on means testing. They didn't do that because they knew the moment you do that, rich people are going to say, look, one of the problems. I'll just give one of the problems healthcare in Canada. Canada has universal healthcare for everybody, but rich people in Canada are angry at it. You know why? Today he needs a surgery. He needs a surgery, right? It's not an emergency. It's not very important. So they tell you, wait small. He's like, I'm a millionaire. Save your millions. Why should I wait small for a surgery?
You should go to the private sector. It has the money.
There you go. That is the problem they have.
You should go.
Rich people are like, why should you? So why should they treat everybody? But she's poor. Probably hers is an emergency. They'll treat it first. I have millions. So you know what? They'll fly other places to go and do it. And that's what sustains it. So long as everybody is in it, it helps. My point is that the moment you decouple it, the moment you introduce means testing to free HSS. So look, if you are listening and you are interested in means test in free HSS, one person says they'll do means test. It's actually ironic that the party of the left, the Social Democrats, the people who believe in what Marx and his class warfare theory, are now trying to make a policy that will benefit the bourgeoisie to the what exploitation of the proletariat. It's now funny that the heirs of Karl Marx are trying to use the bureaucracy education to benefit the bourgeois at the expense of the proletariat.
Who said?
It is rather funny that the socialists of today seems to be hell-bent on helping the bourgeois, the upper, the richer class, the exploitation. My point is that we need to resist this attempt by capitalists pretending to be socialists, driving around in their Mercedes Benz and trying to do a campaign socialist, champagne socialist. We need to do that because if we don't do that and we let free HSS go into the hands of these so-called fake champagne socialists, they will destroy it. And when they do, the rich will benefit, the poor will be exploited, the poor will be trodden on, and the revolution that Karl Marx is talking of will not be coming for the bourgeoisie, it will be coming for these fake socialists.
Stop that. Wait.
It is his point. You can make your point.
Today,
I know, Doc. I'm coming to you.
Today,
yes.
Today, all these theories he's what you call he's talking about. Karl Marx, trying learning one. Does it work?
It does.
Wait.
Don't worry.
I said wait. Russia today, don't they have oligarchs? Isn't that the bed of Karl Marx and Lenin?
But we point that out.
Please. Isn't it there? Should stop using these big things. Let's come home to our own. That me, I don't buy. Have you ever heard me say Karl Marx and all this? My father was a student of Karl Marx and Lenin. You hear me talk about it? Because I don't think it applies to us. How we can make it equitable for all. Period. And stop all these bourgeoisie.
And make it equitable for all. For example, free SHS is through means testing. Is that how to make it equitable for all?
Look,
Doc is saying that to make it equitable for all,
to me.
Let everybody be on the same wavelength.
Everybody can't be on the same wavelength because they are
we are now.
Wait,
now. No, you also interrupted me. Everybody is now. Now what we are saying is that we all go to free HSS.
Listen.
We all go.
Listen.
So we are all there. We've made it. You can't say we cannot because that is the status quo now.
Listen. There are rich people and there are poor people.
Mm-hmm.
The rich people should be given the opportunity to look after their wards because they can afford it.
GIS is there.
They can afford
GIS is there.
Please. The fact that GIS is there.
No, but you also interrupted me.
Listen.
GIS is there. Isn't it? The GIS is there.
Listen.
If you don't want your daughter to go to Wegehit,
listen. Wait. Oh, it is my choice. It is my choice.
Yes. But the poor people don't have a choice.
No, yes. It is my choice.
But the poor don't have a choice. Somebody must speak for them. And the government speaks for them.
See, Mr. Antoine, when somebody is making a comment about something you have said,
he's not,
when you say, I think it's not.
He's not listening to me.
Yes,
let me finish. Let me finish, then he comments.
Yes,
but he shouldn't dig in when I'm trying to make a point.
We can do that, but is the O and all?
Yes, I'm sorry if I use the O, but he should let me finish my statement. Then if he has something against it, then he should come back.
That's fine. So
but he shouldn't interject me whilst I'm trying to make myself, because he takes me off my thinking process.
That's fine. Please go ahead.
I'm a rich man. I want my child to go to a public school. And I can afford it because I see something in the public school that I might not see in the so-called private schools. So I want my child to go there, and I can afford it. Shouldn't I pay? Shouldn't I pay to make it easier for somebody who doesn't have the kind of richness I have to also take advantage of what I would have given to what they would have given to my child? That is what I mean by equitable. Okay. Because if I have the money and I can pay, I should pay. It helps the system. It helps the education system. Because at the present moment, one of the major challenges of free education is how we finance it. It's a major challenge.
The children in the US and the UK, in high school, the state pays for it. As far as
depending on where.
Yes, but I'm just saying that
depending on where,
across board,
depending on where,
for the rich and for the poor.
Depending on where, depending. I don't know the US. Yes, I know the UK.
Yes, but I'm just saying
in the UK, depending on the borough you live in. Yeah. Depending on the borough you live in, you might pay, or you might pay part, and government will take part.
But what I'm saying is that it's universal. The approach is that you want to educate all your young people in the country, irrespective of the financial circumstances of their parents. And so the government policy is that once you are ripe for senior high school education, whether your father is rich or your father is not rich, you must be qualified, and we use state resources to pay for it. We are saying that we shouldn't do that. We should allow those who have money to pay and those who don't have money not pay.
Why not?
I find it difficult.
Why not?
Because it's a policy.
Because listen, you cannot pay. You cannot use the UK system to compare with us. Their purchasing power is much higher and stronger than ours. Ours isn't.
I think
yes.
Ours isn't. Yes, okay. We don't have the kind of money the UK or America has. We are struggling right now to put free SHS on an even keel because of financing.
Should we wait to get all the money in the world before we educate our population?
That is why I'm saying, if for nothing at all, those who can pay, let them start that till we get to a point where we know we can provide for all.
Okay, so Doc, yes. But before you make your comment, let me just bring in our Facebook constituency, and they are important because they help to shape up the conversation. So Dodu says that Mr. Jantua, stop your gaslighting and allow Mr.
What does he mean by gaslighting?
Panelist.
No, what does he mean by gaslighting?
Oh, I think it was when you were. It was because.
What does he mean by gaslighting?
No. I'm sure he's just saying that interruption.
No, so they should use the right words. Gaslighting has different meanings.
Okay. So Baba says that Mr. Jantua should stop the. Please, okay. He can't tell us both candidates will manage the free SHS well. He, Jantua, is aware that John Mahama and the NDC fought the introduction of the free SHS with all they had. He cannot understand that level-headed persons are okay. No, so let's not go that route, but I understand your message. Okay, Dave Austin says that, to be frank, Ms. Jantua, why do you concern anything about DMB? So let me read it better. I think the way it is written, to be frank with Mr. Jantua, why do you condemn anything about DMB but loud anything from JDM?
Have you heard me?
You belittle a better policy. You belittle a better policy that could benefit all Ghanaians, but you support JDM promising tricycle and boots to those who work in the marketplace, not rather in the farms. Okay, so Dave Austin is saying that you appear to be supporting a proposal by Mr. Mahama, which to him sounds ridiculous, but you are not supporting a policy by Dr. Bawumia, which to him sounds as a better policy. That is what he's trying to say. Mr. Mahama is saying that Mr. Jantua used the expression, they could have done more because they receive additional funds. The question is, how much is more? Is it feasible for him, for once, to admit that a lot has been done and that there is still room for progress? And that's the question Abdul Basit Mahama is asking today on the show. Okay, so Kamal Dean says that, but why Uncle Nee is not in the studio? Oh, okay, he's on his way, I believe. He should be here. He's an habitual latecomer, but he'll be here.
He's past his latecomer.
I would love to see you working with DMB in 2025 and beyond. Join MPP. And that is a message from Kamal Dean to Nick Bako Samoa Ado, who is not here, but I believe he's listening to us. Okay, so Dixon Don says that, good morning to the force and his crew, Asasi Radio, the forum. Mr. Jantua will never see anything good about MPP government, but the truth is MPP as a political party in power has done far better than NDC. I am voting on Monday and my vote is for Afenyo Markin, Majority Leader, and DMB. And that is Alex, he says he's called Alex Bawumia from Winneba. Alex, choice. Thank you for your message. Other messages here. Please let your media guy put the means testing analysis of Dr. Jato on free SHS on a short video and share. Amazing analysis. I wish to sit in his lecture room. And that is Eunice Champoma endorsing Dr. Zato this morning. And Dr. Zato is jubilating in the room. Wilberforce, Mr. Jantua is pretending he won't understand. Don't worry about focus on the program. Ignore him. Oh, somebody says I should ignore him because you have decided not to understand. Okay. Good morning, Wilberforce. So he says that Dr. Equia, she is my favorite communicator. My advice to all Ghanaians is to come out and vote massively for DMB. If not, when the NDC wins, the NDC branch chairman will raise Nkoko Bu in front of your house, and you will regret it for the next 4 years. And that is Kweku Ohime Boachi from Scotland in Aberdeen. Okay, so the messages are so many. I will pause here and I'll let Doctor come in, and after that I'll read the subsequent messages. Okay, Doc. So yes, you want a quick reaction to some of the positions that Mrs. Jantua has taken. Yes,
and it sort of fits back into what we're talking about with the messaging. See, free SHS, if you have some money, Mr. Jantua said we shouldn't say we don't have money. If you have some money like Mr. Jantua, then you'll be able to make all these analyses.
It has an Accra problem. Free just has an Accra problem.
How do I have money?
No, I'm just said that when you're
no, but Mr. Jantua, so if you had a child who was at the age of going to free SHS, would you want that child to go free or pay? Will you pay?
If I can pay, I'll pay.
No. That's not a question.
I'll pay.
I'm asking about if you can pay. You will pay.
Yes.
So you are in the category of those who want the rich. Who can pay?
You can't ask me a question and not get me to
you've
explain.
Answered it.
I'm telling you, if I have the wherewithal to be able to look after my ward in school, I would want to pay. Okay. And give someone else who needs the free education that opportunity.
So you see, the question I'm asking is a straightforward question. You had a child who was free SHS at the age of you will pay.
Yes, I'll pay.
The answer. Okay. No.
So I think if you listen to even the messaging of Honorable Educhum, the education minister, who has done fantastic. People want to throw so many stones at the MPP, but you can't fault us when
the STEM schools, he's done well.
And not just that. You see, the vision that we have in
I said you don't have one in my village. So that's my problem with
STEM schools.
There's no one in my village. So there's no STEM school. I'm just saying that's my beef with him.
You are asking for a STEM school in Tumu.
Yes.
Don't worry.
And Tumu is Upper West.
Yes, exactly.
So why didn't he bring one there?
No, we have 20.
It's ongoing.
Again, there's no one in Tumu. Very important.
So when you are in that category, then you first you need to understand the whole vision that this free SHS sort of fits into it. It's not just free SHS, it's free TVET too. And Ghana, Mr. Johnson was making the point that we don't have enough money, so we should have allowed those with money to pay. Cuba, dare I say, it might be poorer than us. But they've done this education such that the average person, when you go to Cuba, has a certain educational level and they are able to export their human resource. Any country that does great things has to deliberately do things that will enable them to be great. So you want to compete with the likes of South Korea. You want to now become like the beacon of West Africa that we dream to be. So when he also started talking about, we can't do this, we can't do this. We now in the MPP, as we said, the It Is Possible mantra, it is applied not just to the campaign, we will apply it to government. It is possible. We believe that we can do great things. And the first thing to do when you are starting on this journey of great things is to educate everybody. What it means is that a lot of people, like middle income, like he was saying, you can afford to pay the school fees, but it will take a big chunk of your money. You have 4 children, everybody's paying 4,000 cedis. That's 16,000.
You don't know the job I do.
But if you are...
You don't know the job I do.
Don't you think that empowers the family to use that money to do other things?
The US,
it is my choice.
So, I'm
it is my choice. I have 4 children, 4,000. I can pay. It's my choice.
The government is empowering you because it takes away that 16,000 and it says that use that 16,000 to probably
do something else,
furnish your home.
Or plan for their university education.
It's not the government who would decide what I want to do with my money.
The government is not deciding what you do.
I said,
but the government
I want to pay. I want to pay. I want to pay.
Let's listen to Doc. Yes, Doc,
you are complaining about. We are trying to reduce one of the major drivers of cost of living for you.
I said I want to pay. Is that the fault? You want to pay?
Let me tell you how.
It's
so even when we were in secondary schools and we were paying,
it's my option.
When we were in secondary school and we were paying school fees, the people whose parents had money were supporting the school. Yes. You can do that. Nobody stops you from, showing your level in that school by building them a classroom block. Build them a school field. Because my father was in football, they will sponsor all the tournaments. You can do that. Nobody is stopping you from doing that because
we're talking about the wards, our children.
Yes. I don't want you to interrupt
you. You said if you have extra money, you wanted to pay for the free SHS, right? Put all that money together. Use it to build them a 1 unit classroom block. Let them see that yes, oh yeah, guy. But don't try and affect the system we are trying to build. What we are trying to do, when we were in school, secondary school, the school fees wasn't much. That's how this was an endemic problem. I don't think in Holy Child we were paying up to 1,000 cedis.
You are dead, Abba.
But people,
you went to Holy Child.
People could not pay that money. And it was money that some of the children walking around in the school is in their pockets. So when it gets to time where we are going to write exam and what's not, and some of your friends, you are in this, and that's what makes it good.
But you are making my point. You are making my point.
You are mixing with people from all walks of life. You are mixing with people who are sort of affluent, and then the poor people are people who are less well off are mixing with them. So you form bonds. Somebody will be able to use their pocket money to pay your school fees, but that puts that person indebted to that person. So now if I want water to bath, you will fetch it for me because I paid your school fees. Do you understand? We are trying to eliminate that kind of thing. So if you have extra money, build them another house, build them another hostel, build them a classroom block. But we are not going to make free SHS in such a way that you pay those who have money pay. Then how are you roping in private schools? You see, this what again makes the messaging on the opposition side devoid of any serious. Like it's very ill thought out. Because you are complaining that we are spending too much money on it. It was done on a wholesale approach. Then you are bringing private schools. What kind of private schools are you thinking about adding to it? Are you adding ICS that pays like 16,000 a term to it and complaining about the source of funding? It means you don't understand what we are trying to do.
You're talking about equitable things.
You shouldn't be. you shouldn't be allowed to come anywhere close, because you do understand what we are trying to do. We are trying to make education free and increase the quality such that when you're in America, your wife gives birth in America.
Free for who?
And free for everybody,
including the private schools.
No.
Why not?
We haven't.
Are they not educational institutions?
Where in the world?
Where
in the world?
Are they not part and parcel of the education system?
Why we have the word private?
Yes.
It's private.
We're talking about public education system.
I mean,
I say okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, in every world, even where the public education system is free, private schools exist. In America, if you give birth to your child, you know that you don't have to worry about the education till college. You are not really paying any fees till they are in college, and so you are able to use your money on other things. You trust in the quality of that education. That is where we are building up to. That also removes some of the burden of your cost of living crisis. Because now, if you want to have a child now, one of the biggest things you are going to be spending your money on consistently is school fees. And we are not even, we've done this with secondary school, that had already, materialized for it. We are trying to bring increase the quality of education, even in junior high schools. So it's not just the STEM secondary schools. We've built model junior high schools that also look like you've just entered ICS.
Again, there's none of them in my village. None in
today I can assure you guys that our messaging on Facebook, I'm overwhelmed.
None of the models. There's no model.
There's STEM school.
Again,
that is
there's no model STEM school in Tumu. There's no model TVET school in Tumu. There's no model. Again,
Tumu, you will get there.
Okay, so I think that we should mobilize a campaign to Tumu and get
roads and
all these things.
Exactly, very important.
Tumu will do it for you. But the East Legon STEM school. I've sent the video to your people. They should show it. This is like a preparatory school, so you can start from primary. KG. So junior high school. And if you look at the quality, it's like you've entered ICS. I think I reference ICS a lot. My nieces are there.
She's that the beat.
It's that quality of school. So we are hoping to be able to invest more in this, have more of this all over the world, so that even in the primary to JSS, you can also be confident in sending your child to a site.
Okay, so
somebody
all over Ghana.
All of this.
Okay, so you said all over the world. I'm sure you will all over Ghana.
Yeah.
Let me make a point. You see, socialists or social democrats love Cuba. They love to talk about what Cuba is doing or not doing. You know what Cuba doesn't have? Means testing. They don't. If you are poor, you can become a medical doctor. If you are rich, you become medical assistant.
In fact, we send Ghanaians from here to go and study medicine in Cuba.
You know, they don't have means testing. They don't have means testing. You understand that? Look, I'm telling you that if you sit down and you do any academic study, you see, and there's numerous studies about it, about how exploitative and how oppressive means testing is. You will not suggest it for a country like ours. Look, free HS is not a perfect policy. No, I know that. I can't mention the problem. But public policies are not meant to be perfect. No. There's absolutely
nothing perfect in this world.
Exactly.
Nothing is
public
perfect.
Public policies are utilitarian. The majority good for the majority of the people. The most good for the most people. You understand? There are people in Ghana that are so rich that they can afford their children to go for high school wherever in the world. That's their problem. Good for them. As the Muslims will say, Alhamdulillah. They should do it. There are people within this country whose children go to ICS, whose children go to GIS, where they pay. Again, Alhamdulillah, good for them. They should do it. But for the majority, I'll give you a very good example. I have two cousins, my uncle's children, who live with me in Accra here. One goes to St. Francis Girls Secondary School, Jirapa. The other one goes to Canton Secondary School into my hometown. School fees from Jirapa to Accra, this alone, it's almost 800 Ghana cedi. That's just school fees. Sorry, transportation. When they're coming and where they're going. By the time you put their chop box, you put their gari and everything together, each box, if you put this thing together, so parents are already contributing to that. They're already doing it. The poor parents are already doing it. They have to buy gari for their children. They have to do shita for them. They have to give them soup. So it's not as if they're not doing anything already. I want you to understand. Just think about it. Parents, the poor parents, the rich parents are already contributing to their kids' welfare. What FHS has done is that you deal with how to get your daughter shito, gari, Tom Brown, soup, and these things to go to school. You are a parent. You are better at doing those things because already you are doing it at home. We will take care of the other educational stuff. So
uniform,
there's already exactly. So there's already a division of labor between the state and parents. The state signed this social contract between them and the parents. It's already enforced. I want you to understand that when we say it's free, it's not as if parents just get up, take their children, go. There are two things happening now. There's what I call the audacity of free HSS. The audacity of it. Free HSS is making people dream. You've heard stories about somebody who got to get 30 and wants to go to Holy Child, right? That is the audacity of free HSS. When your youth are dreaming, when people think that I have this dream, it's good for a country. Because look, this woman is no. My daughter too will go to Wege, even if she doesn't have. That's dreaming. That's audacity. And people now say that. So now it's no more just about access. It's not about quality. You understand? She's not saying that my daughter has aggravated, so she should go to the village. Where she no. She'll go to Holy Child like doctor did. Even Joshin, that's the audacity of free HSS. Secondly, free HSS has an Accra problem. It has a rich people problem. And that's one of the things. You will never see any poor person criticizing free HSS. No. You will never see any middle class Ghanaian criticizing free HSS. No, never. Go out and look. Go and see the man sitting down there. You go to free HSS and then you come and say the rice they gave you in the morning, it wasn't very good. And then your parents, they've not eaten rice in the first 1 month. Christmas is coming. Even Christmas rice, they can't afford. You are complaining that the rice they gave you for supper, there was no meat. And then your father or your mother is thinking, you had rice.
So my problem with that is, even when we were paying, the food was terrible for those who had means.
What means?
Like the food they'll give you in secondary school.
She can eat that in East Legon.
So for you to now come and make that the major problem of free SHS.
I want to give a personal story, and so I don't want to. When I was in St. Francis Xavier, one day there was on this thing about food, and our seniors were punished. And I came home. My big sister took care of me to a secondary school. She called me Saint. My name is Saint. I was a Saint. The problem was about rice balls, rice water in the morning with milk and everything. He said, since you have a kid, have we ever cooked rice water for you to eat in the morning at the house? I said no. She kept quiet and went away. Go to school and find over rice water. Come home. See, that's what I'm saying. It has it has an Accra problem. The masses, the so-called masses, the people that really need it, they don't complain about it. Because you go home, you go to school, you are guaranteed 3 meals a day. You know that if you were home, you are not guaranteed those meals. You know that these are realities, and that is why it's supposed to do all over the world. Even in the United States of America, there are parents there whose children cannot afford 3 meals at home. That is why they have the school feeding. How do they call it? The lunch projects and program University of in the United States. So my point is that anybody, look, you can always do better. You can always you should put more money into free HSS. I mean, all this money we have. If today I get up and I say we are going to put all the cocoa money in free HSS, I'll say, hey. You can always put so much in because free HSS, somebody was saying quality of it. I say, look, free HSS is not Akobam. You know Akobam? You know the medicine Akobam? Akobam could treat everything. You know that, right? Free HSS is not Akobam. It's not meant to treat everything. It contributes to quality. It's not the only source of quality. It addresses critically most important thing of access. People say it's only access. Look. We are in this room discussing. Now, if you are not here, you can't discuss. Access gives opportunity. The Bible says, knock, it shall be open for you. It didn't say if it opens, you will enter. It didn't also say if you enter, you can stay there. Remember, I went to Sunday school, small. I went to catechism, I learned some small Bible.
So today you are preaching.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It says, knock, it will open. If it opens, that doesn't mean that you can enter. 2, it doesn't mean that if you enter, you can stay there. But at least it opens. And once it opens, you have choices. Free HSS gives children options. It gives parents choices and options. You can go inside there. We've seen people who slack out through secondary school. We've seen them. They are the jokers. Today, some of them, what they are doing with their lives, you'll be surprised. We've seen those who go, they can't even read, they can't do this. They are the entertainment preferred, they are the DJs today, they are the musicians today, they are the DJs today, they are the MCs. It's called opportunities, it's called options. Let a young girl drop out of JSS. You are in the health sector, and the first thing she's going to do is what? Get married, right? Have children at that age, pregnant. Let that same young girl or another young girl graduate from SS and also do that. The medical health people from the health will tell you which one of them is stronger, better to have. Social science, if you do the statistics, if you do the study, you will realize that a mother at 18 is financially, emotionally, everything better than a mother at 15. So if you drop out from JSS, it's a highway to poverty.
Clear.
For both boy and girl. If you're a boy and you drop out of JSS, you know what you do first? You become an area boy. The secondly, you are the kubolo, you are the village
connection man.
You see where you are. You see that path. It's a highway to what? Armed robber. You know that, right? But if you drop at from SS, there are those, before you realize, they start putting towards some small business, some small distance, and then some of them so small computer repairing. They learn skills. So even from a poverty reduction process, and think about it, the 3 years that you are there, in a year you are in school for almost 8 months. That means 8 months that your parents don't have to feed you. That money they used to feed your brother siblings. That money your mother will use it to buy a new cloth or a new shoe. That money goes into fixing the leaking roof of your family.
We have spoken about only one message. We haven't spoken about the other four.
Please,
the message is very
if free HS means that to you, you've got a right to protect in this election.
You know, my personal example is that I was taken care of by a single mother. I went to SSS on the benevolence of a certain man called Fred Asare. Even though he has my name, he's not related to me, but I knew him. And then my mother sold some of his cloth that he had to educate me. I'm my mother's first son. And that's how I went to SHS.
Which SSS did you go to? Which one?
I went to Accra Academy. That's how I went to school. So when I hear people talk about free SHS, and look, at the time, I was from a family where I had an uncle who had all the money, but my uncle was at loggerheads with my mother, and so will not finance my education. So the only way out, even though I was from, by all standards, you would say that it was a rich family, I couldn't have somebody to pay my school fees from my home, my family.
It puts you at the mercy at people.
And I was at the mercy of someone and my mother's ingenuity to sell her cloth to educate me. And that is why I am Wilberforce today. So when it comes to education, I am when I hear people talk about free SHS,
you don't know.
I tell you,
don't know.
My emotions. That's why I'm quiet, because my emotions run.
You don't know. You don't know.
Wilberforce.
Mr. Janto, yes, please.
You are making it out. Both of them are making it out as if I'm against free SHS. No.
We are against
No. Are you trying to tell me, even with free SHS, children dropping out of GSS, they don't get pregnant? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
It has reduced drastically to manageable level.
Yes. The reduction.
It shouldn't even happen.
No, it should happen all over the world.
It shouldn't even happen. I don't care where. Listen,
it happens.
Okay. Doc, you talked out. Quiet and let me also talk.
Okay,
talk now,
please. That's why 2 minutes.
Quiet and let me also. Did you tell him 2 minutes when he was talking?
We are changing over.
It's okay. No, I'm not talking anymore.
No, please do.
It's all right. No. I won't talk anymore.
You and I.
No, I won't.
We are paddies.
But he was talking. You didn't tell him 2 minutes, but you're telling me 2 minutes.
So I'm only saying that we are trying to transition to.
So let's transition.
Yes, but I want to hear your comments.
Let's transition.
No. I want to hear your comments. Please go ahead. We are all ears. We are all listening. If you don't comment, we won't continue. So you might as well comment.
We have people listening to us. Let's continue.
Okay, so Eunice Echampoma says that your breakfast is on me, Dr. Zato. Excellent delivery. And then, So this is Kamal Dean. I think Kamal Dean is still on Mr. Jantua, and I don't want to be attacking.
No, go ahead. No. You should go ahead.
So he says, I used to have the same sentiments about him, but when I gave him the benefit of the doubt, he proved me wrong. He always speaks his mind and face the facts as well. Do monitor on different shows, you understand him well. Okay, so I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I'm sure he's talking about Mr. Jantua. Okay, so there's Baba who says that Wilberforce, please take control. Okay, Baba says I should take control over the program. Mr. Jantua is on rampage. I said that earlier, but he's cooled down. He has cooled down. Okay, so there is David Auntie who says that for Mr. Jantua, I am not surprised. He once sat here on this same program and said that DMB should agree to be a vice president under Mr. Allen. It was just before the MPP primaries. Say it's good to disagree or dislike someone, but you should be smart enough to know.
But he should you should tell the reason why I said that. There was a reason why I said that. You can't just make that comment and not give the reason why I said it.
Okay, maybe he doesn't recall the reason. But
then he shouldn't say it if he doesn't recall.
David,
there was a reason.
Okay, what was the reason then? Do you remember?
The reason then was that I said, look, in order for the MPP to be able to beat the NDC, so far as I was concerned, that pair, Chamatin and Baumia, would have won the election easy.
Okay. So
that was the reason why I said it.
Okay, so Eunice says that the affordability of rich parents should not come to distract the free SHS policy. Why don't you register your child in the private secondary school if you have more? Okay, so that is
it's my choice.
The secondary school
my choice.
Issue. Oh, my Facebook has, for some reason, it's just frozen. So I was trying to read the rest of the messages. I'm unable to do it. Once I get it back on track, I'll read the other messages. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, apart from message, there is also mobilization. And Mrs. Santo, I'll start with you on this.
What is mobilization? What do you mean by mobilization?
What I mean by mobilization is that the two political parties, apart from your message, you need to mobilize your base and your people on the ground to be able to sell the message that you have. Which of the two parties has been able to mobilize effectively in your viewpoint? If you look at where we are so far, mobilization, you're saying that the NDC has mobilized better or the MPP has mobilized better. Who is more on the ground? The MPP say Dr. Bawumia is on the ground. He has visited nearly 270 constituencies out of the 276. Mr. Mahama is still in the range of around 100.
They are all over the country. And it depends on you, the individual, as a flag bearer, to make sure that your message penetrates. So if you decide that there are certain areas I won't go to, and your opponents are going there, then they have a leg over you, don't they? Because their message.
He has visited nearly 270. Sorry, please go ahead. It's an interruption.
Today you've meant me.
Oh no.
Today you've meant me. You've meant me. If your opponents then has gone into areas that you decide not to go to, obviously their message will penetrate into those areas. It's up to the style each want to use. If Vice President Bawumia has visited more than President Mahama, it is their style of doing it, and they want their message to go through. I don't see why it should be compared. There are different political parties, and they have their own strategies in how they want to send their message across. I don't see the comparison. The comparison might not win the votes that you're looking for. It is whether the people trust those who are giving the message out. So let's see. And I said it last week here. This election, this election is a polling booth. This election is the counting of the votes after. So we can do all these comparisons. One will lose. One will lose. And if one doesn't lose, it will go second round, won't it? If none of them get 50 plus 1, it will go second round. And the kingmaker will decide who wins. Simple.
So you are not ready to stick out and say that any one of the parties has mobilized better than the other?
I don't think it's a competition thing. I don't think so.
The election is a competition.
It is up to them. If you do not want, if you feel that there are certain areas your opponent is going to and you're not going to, it's your problem. Today, where's President Mahama? He's gone back to Ashanti. Vice President Bawumia, he's finished Ashanti. I'm sure he'll go back to Ashanti. If he doesn't go back to Ashanti, there are people there who would also be in Ashanti where President Mahama is. So it's up to you. I'm not going to say whether this one has done better than what this. It's up to you to take your message through.
So 1 week to the election, which of the political parties would you say has the momentum?
They both have momentum. When you listen,
you say both, you mean the NPP and the NDC?
When you listen to social media, they both have momentum. Mm-hmm. They both have momentum.
You mean when you say both, you mean NPP and NDC,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so you are ruling out the others.
Well, I don't. You see, the concentration, and especially with the media, the concentration has been on these two. That's where the concentration has been. So when you even hear information, you hear more of these two than the others. But I still believe the others, especially Afafranto and Cheddar, are making inroads. But we hardly hear what they say. So we can only stick to the two. And let's see. Okay. But I wouldn't say, oh, this one has gone here, this one has gone here. So because they've gone here, gone there, they are going to win. I will not say that.
Okay.
They both have their strategy and style of how they want to put their message across. Period.
Okay, so Ms. Jantua, on mobilization and momentum, I'll come to you, Dr. Zato. Which of the two parties, the leading parties, do you think has mobilized better and has the momentum as we speak ahead of the elections, which is 1 week away from today?
Thank you very much. I think I interrupted as a gentleman a lot, so let me just withdraw that. Okay, I promise I won't interrupt you again. Okay, all forgiven, all done. I won't.
So those of you who are on our Facebook, I'm sorry that on the console I'm working here, my Facebook got logged out. I'm trying to log back in. So you are still with us. I will still come to your good messages that you have sent. I haven't forgotten about it. Okay, so thankfully I've been logged in. Okay, no, just after you make your submission, let me get this out of the way so that they know that indeed I've actually been logged in. So there's Raphael L, who says that cocoa scholarship scheme for the poor farmers was hijacked by the same rich people who could pay fees. Currently, the government scholarship scheme is being hijacked by the same rich and affluent who can sponsor their masters and PhD people like Mr. Jantua. Okay, so the rest of the words I'm not going to use. But
I told you I'll pay for my own. I haven't said I'm going to.
Your point is made.
I said I'm going to pay for my own.
Okay, so there's Abubakar. Okay, so James Fieron who says Mr. Jantua's level of honesty is suspect. Okay, I don't know what level of honesty he's talking about.
I believe you're honest. I believe you're very honest, Mr. Jantua.
Today, Mr. Jantua, everything is they are fighting you. Why is it? Why? Mr. Jantua is not speaking anymore because he doesn't have anything useful to add. Oh, he just spoke. Okay, Dixon says that Dr. Zato is actually on fire this morning. Best analysis on free SHS. My heart bleeds when I hear NDC condemning free SHS. Wilberforce, I was sacked from exams hall during my SHS time because my father, who is late, couldn't pay all my fees. God bless Nana Addo, DMB, MPP government for this life-saving policy. And this is Dixon Donson. Okay, Ofajantua, just raise his hands. Free SHS is raining. Okay, so Eunice says that you should just give up. Mr. Jantua,
but having said free SHS is bad.
Okay, so Mr. Jantua forgets that the rich are already paying through taxation. Any attempt to means test will open a door for politicians' admissions to their advantage.
Doesn't it happen?
It is not going to work.
Doesn't it happen?
So, Mr. Jantua, Abdul Basit Muhammad is saying that through taxation, the rich are contributing. And so let's use the taxes the rich are paying to finance free SHS, and it takes care of everyone.
Will it?
That's what he's saying.
Will it?
Okay.
Is it enough to take care of the budget for free SHS?
Okay. So pure hatred for Akufo-Addo, who implemented the free SHS education policy. It's very difficult to understand the logic. Okay, so that's rough. And again, all of it is targeted at Mr. Jantua. Okay, so Mr. Jantua is doing the same thing they did with one-time payment for NHIS. Please, in the UK where I live, children don't pay for their primary education. It is the national policy. My children go to a top school outside my town. All I pay is their transport fare.
Depending on
that
where.
Is even before I am outside. That is even because I am outside London. And that's Christopher Abbey. Christopher Abbey lives outside London.
I'll tell him the borough I lived in.
All right.
And what I used to pay for my children.
And Kamal Dean says that I believe today's discussion was touched on political dynamics. I forcefully change your topic. Please help us understand the dynamics. Okay, so we'll talk about the dynamics. All this we are talking about is the dynamics.
Yes.
The messaging is part of the dynamics. The mobilization and the momentum is part of the dynamics. We'll come to talk about the money and maintaining the momentum. That's the last part of the conversation. Is this campaign being monetized? We'll talk about it. But Doc, it's your turn. I'll read the other messages after your submission.
Who has
on momentum and mobilization?
Oh,
it's open the microphone. Please come and help Doc with the microphone. But Doc, you can move here for now. Yes.
Who has the momentum now? Clearly, no matter how you look at it, and no matter how you're...
Doc, if you sit down, I think we'll hear you much better.
Yes. Good. Yes. No matter how you look at it, no matter how jaundiced you're looking at, the NPP has the momentum. There's 1 week to go, they have the momentum. And I'm just going to base the analysis on something that the APP will not like. They're like polls conducted by Musa Dankwa, Global Info Analytics, if he doesn't like it. If you follow Global Info Analytics from, let's say, September, they had His Excellency John Dramani Mahama around 56, almost 60%. With His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia almost 30%. That was how they had. Today, even if you follow the same global internal analytics, one person is descending and the other person is ascending. I'm saying if you just follow them, the person reducing from that 50 whatever they were. I think
it started at 58%.
Now it has 51, 52.
Yes.
So in about 3-4 months, they have dropped almost 8 solid points. Those who went to Holy Child can do the maths. Or those who went to who go to National Science and Maths quiz, they can calculate the percentage of what dropping. You understand what I'm saying? They had, he's also talking about me around 30, right? Since from around September or so. Today they've put him somewhere 40. That's, let's say, about 10% increase. You think about that. Again, those who went to Presec or Prempe or Adisco, they can do the math and you will see the percentage. So I'm saying, even if you just use that poll alone, it tells you that one person is on the ascendancy, the other one is on the descendancy. That is if you just use that. Now, if you add other polls, all the polls are telling you that the race is, let me say, is getting tighter. And it's getting tighter because His Excellency the Bawumia is rising. It's not getting tighter because the APP, because if they remember, we started, if we're going to go when we started the year, if we go to when the manifestos came out in the middle of the year, all that time the APP was, let me say, flying, running away with the race. It's like it was like a marathon. But they're coming. So any poll you look at now is telling you this is tightening. And it's tightening because of two things. One, the indices is reducing, their momentum is coming down, NPP is what? On the ascendance. Any poll at all. So for me, if that alone, and that is a scientific analysis, that alone tells you that one person is on the has momentum. That alone tells you. Okay. Now, if you then also look at that, the NPP plan seems to be simple. We visited all the constituencies. Now, with the endorsement or the glowing endorsement of His Excellency John Ajay Kufuor and all that, the NPP now feels that the base has come home. The biggest challenge of the NPP was how to bring the base home. The base is now home. Anybody who votes NPP is now home. The question now is, they know they are independent vote, especially in Greater Accra and other places. How do you get them? That is why the whole week has been turned into a commissioning spree. That is the message. It's a plan. If you look how it is executed, the plan, the commissioning spree is not necessarily partisan. No, it's supposed to appeal to people who live in East Legon and Ajirigano. It's supposed to appeal to people who live in the upper class, those who are, for want of a better word, independent voters, those who may not care. When I say don't care about free justice, like it doesn't matter, they'll pay. Those who have their jobs, their professions, but those who know that, who are angry because they've sat in traffic going to this place for 2-3 hours. Those who are distant, the commissioning is now there to appeal to them. So 1 week to time, if you realize that your traffic time, the time it takes you from your home to work has been cut. You used to do 1 hour in traffic, now you're doing 20 minutes. You understand? It's going to them. And so you see that is how the momentum, that is one of the ways you can use incumbency to your advantage. It's one of the ways. In this case, you are delivering solid, measurable, quantifiable policies and projects that directly benefit the lives of people. They benefit the life of also ordinary people. If you are sitting in Trotro and you were coming to use the underground around the place there, you knew how long you stood in that traffic. Aboichabelamte circle, if you are in traffic, you know Trotro, all these things. But now the traffic is easing. It has eased. And it's almost the Christmas shopping season. So my point is that both the rich, the poor, the middle class, the upper class are benefiting from this commission, the commission of these projects happening. So that is the last part of the MPP message. Bring together the house, raise the momentum, bring everybody home, appeal to floating voters. And that's what I'm saying. The data from any source at all that you see is showing that the MPP candidate, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is rising. If he keeps this momentum, by next Saturday by this time, it's going to be good news. Next Saturday, the evening, the people have a party. If this momentum keeps on, and there's nothing that tells me that the momentum cannot be maintained. Everything tells me that it's going to be maintained, and you're going to do is you're going to go on with this commission because there's a lot to celebrate, because there's a lot to achieve, because there is a lot that they've done and they must go do. So you see the campaign going that way.
Well
It's the last days of the campaign. And what is the NDC doing? Nick Pako just came inside. Welcome, Nick Pako. What is the NDC doing? Hey, you're also going for a squeeze. So, Doc, I'm the only one who didn't squeeze. I just, no, the will of us, you must just put this on record. Hey, you and Jantro both have squeeze. I'm the only one who didn't have.
You walk in late.
And you're going to squeeze.
Instead of coming to apologize to the listeners,
you are going for a squeeze.
You are going hugging.
You are squeezing. Oh, you didn't going for a kiss, yo. People should come and see what is happening in the studio here.
Okay. As you go back to my place, and let me come this way. Yes. So I think the point is strongly made over there that the momentum, for according to you, is on the side of the MPP. I'll come to you, Doctor.
And the poll support.
And the poll support. I'll come to you, Doctor Equia Amwaku. Okay. So David says that, Mr. Jantua, please, where in the UK? I mean, which part is Ghana better than? Okay, that's a question that David is asking. Jesus wept. Free SHS is here to stay. Fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goal 4. That's Eunice Echampoma going UN. So yes, means testing is just another term for corruption, and Mr. Jantua knows it. How has Scholarship Secretariat and Get Fund so-called means testing work to the benefit of the needy? And that's a question Abdul Basit Mahama is asking. He says means testing is another way of corruption.
Let me fire someone.
Yeah, I'm coming. Yes. So Mr. Jantua is not just Mr. Jantua is just confusing himself. NDC. Oh, what did I do? Okay, I opened someone's what you call it page. So let me just go back. Okay. So I'll come back to the messages. But Doc is supposed to have his 10. But Doc, because he just came in, I want to pick his thoughts on the issues we started discussing. We started talking about messaging in this political space, and we've talked about mobilization and also momentum. So your party, is your message resonating? Are you mobilizing better than the MPP, and do you have the momentum more than the MPP?
Oh, let me say good morning to my wonderful listeners. My condolences to my own family. Well, I'm just burying my auntie, Mrs. Yeboah.
You are always burying somebody.
Well, this year has been not a good year for me. From my sister to,
Anyway, may the soul rest in peace.
Charlie. So, and today, as you know, is the political season. Congratulations to Presec as well. We are inaugurating our AI center, one of the best in the country.
AI, Artificial Intelligence Center.
The AI center.
Built by who?
Built by the 1999 year group.
Okay.
Yes, of Presec.
Okay.
And, we are very. That's a black. That's almost all the young leaders.
So are you going there?
I'll pass there. I'll pass through there today. Yes,
okay.
I'll pass through there today. So if you had looked on my Facebook, you'd have seen I had put up my itinerary for today. So I told funeral assassin and Presec. So you see, I must admit that I have been surprised at the fact that Dr. Baumia is polling above 40%. Honestly, for a first timer and for the kind of economic mess that we are in, I honestly thought he would not get even 35%. I was looking at him at 30%.
But hold on. I'm just interrupting because the political history in our country shows that MPP has always had more than that.
I'm saying that. Yeah. Oh, why? What is your?
So why would you have even imagined that? Because it's not practical.
Listen, it's very practical. It's very, very possible. We never thought to have. We never thought to have a divided parliament in our history. Of all the scenarios that could happen, and I'm sure even the rules of parliament and the constitution never contemplated to have a split parliament. But if you read the constitution, it talks about coalition governments. So I think in some way they were possibly looking at the fact that there could be coalition governments in the future. And one day, if South Africa can have a coalition government between the ANC and the white DA party, then,
the other party.
Yeah, then it's very possible that one day we may have a coalition government between the NDC and the MPP, which probably will propel Ghana into the right economic space. But the reason why I say this, and I say some of the things here, people say they doubt whether it will ever happen. I've said here, that Dr. Baumia will be president one day. Not this. This is not his time. Ahmed the hour, Ahmed the man. But he's, I think, a man for the future. You understand? And I've given you, if you remember, I've given you the analysis why I believe that his selection helps the MPP in a number of ways. But this election is clearly, for me, an election that has, I say is whether it's divine, whatever it is, the economic times, the struggles, everything has just lined up for President Mahama. Because you see, the kind of the feelings, the emotions, the difficulties that Ghanaians find themselves in, it makes it very difficult for an incumbent party to be able to message the way that ordinarily to. Yes, everybody, see, everyone has their hardcore supporters. And so even when I am, as a branch chairman, when I go around, there are people you meet and they are just die in the wool MPP. They know that the economy is hard. If you tell them the economy is hard, they will admit to you that the economy is hard. But for them to get up in the morning and say they are going to vote for an NDC candidate simply because they are not happy with the economic policies of their party, they will rather sit home. So once you know that core base and you project that core base to be 40-40, but MPP, by virtue of the Ashanti vote, I always say they have like a 45% or 46% start in any election.
I think it's 47.
I can say 46, 47 in any election. Whether you can get everybody out of that 46 or 47% to turn out to vote is always the problem. And so that is why that 10%, what we call the swing voters, always become a factor in an election. And those swing voters normally are urban oriented, voters, people normally in the urban areas, the regional capitals. So when you start in an election, when you start losing massively in some of the regional capitals like Cape Coast, Accra, Sekendi, that's the western region, then you kind of feel that this election may not be your election. But the problem for Dr. Baumia is that this is his first election. That's why last week I kept repeating that the MPP and your management team have to manage the expectations of your electorate. You see, when in 2016, even though we had the 1 million plus attendance at the stadium was packed and all that, I got a sense, I got a sense from the NDC team managing President Mahama that one, they were out of touch with reality, and two, they kind of had a good sense that things were not going to go well. But I don't think they were overly ambitious like you have currently, this MPP. I admire the energy of the team. Honestly, I admire the energy of the team, because when you are managing a candidate that has never been president, it's a bit different from managing a candidate that has ever been president. The protocols are a bit different. You when you've been president before, you don't have the hunger as somebody who's never been president before. And it's true. People have called you a certain, Mr. President, Mr. President. Nobody calls Dr. Baumia Mr. President. I don't even think in his inner circle anybody calls him Mr. President. You understand? You are more likely, and I'm sure those who are in his inner circle are more able to address him directly on issues. Like, look, sir, we need to go here. He's more inclined to listen and to take advice than somebody who has been president before. Somebody who has been president before, everybody navigates, everybody, is tiptoeing, they are looking for positions, they are, you see, the focus of an MPP candidate who has never been president is, I want to win the election first. I don't think they are even dreamt about sharing post. Honestly, I don't think, that Dr. Baumia has a cabinet in his mind. At the moment, his entire 100% focus is seeking to cross that finishing line. But when you're a former president and you believe that, and everybody, all the statistics, everybody tells you that, look, you are winning, your drive to, your zeal to go the extra mile is very, very, is measured. I remember 1996. If you recall, Mr. Jantua, after 1996, Rawlings put on a bit of weight. But between 1998 and 2000, I remember my father always saying that, look, when Rawlings, I think the intelligence told you that President Kufuor was doing very well, Rawlings had to take up his boots and go around the country. And all of a sudden, he slimmed down drastically. Rawlings always had the soldier, and all of a sudden he had put on a little. But when he was told that Kufuor was gaining on him, he began, because that was the time that Kufuor started really building momentum in the election. I think the last few days, the momentum, you must admit, has been with the MPP a bit. You understand? Because if you look at all the polls, it's been tightening and he's been consolidating. However, because President Mahama, and always you have an advantage when you are the opposition leader, especially in a second attempt at a race, because you see, you hold your primaries early. You have the opportunity to then start campaigning. You see, everybody knows what President Mahama resembles, except for maybe his new message of 24-hour campaign. But it's not about an identity.
24-hour economy.
24-hour economy. It's not about an identity campaign anymore, telling the people who you are, what you are about, what is your vision. No, it's really about telling them. It's because it boils. I think I read an article by Mr. Gabi Ochidako. It's now about, when you strip down everything, it's about the personalities. You understand who and what they represent. One person's vision as against the other, and when you strip down the personalities, the messaging for the NDC is about attacking the record of Dr. Bawumia. Keep pointing out the fact that this is the person who is the immediate cause of your economic woes. That in an election year where indeed the economy is in difficulty, it's an easier message to sell, as opposed to someone who is trying to sell a new vision and trying to repack. That's why I keep saying that Dr. Bawumia, if he makes the 40%, which from every indication is going to do, will have an easier time as an opposition leader. Why? Because if you look at all the statistics, Ghana is on an IMF program to 2026. Nothing is going to change. But if you look at the fact, our cedi is predicted to depreciate to the point of 20 cedis to the dollar. 19 to 20 cedis to the dollar by the next election, 2028. So if you look at most of the analysis by some of these international lists, they say that whoever inherits the economy, if it's the NDC, and we are not able to manage the economic challenges that we are likely to even go back to opposition within the next 4 years. So for me, if I'm Dr. Bawumia, I cannot, in honesty, also comment, because some of us who are commentators, we can speak our mind. But if you are leader of a team, you can't go and tell the team that, look, I am only participating in this election, and then when at the next election, expect that I'll do better. I can understand. But I think that they should also manage the rhetoric a bit. That, look, at all costs we will win. You see, because when you do that, and and sometimes elections the real election, I always say, is on the D-Day. I, in 2016, never expected the NDC would lose an election and lose by 1 million votes. Honestly. So when you go in there, and in fact, the loss is so dramatic, you understand? And so it can knock you off your feet.
Is that what NDC is expecting?
No. I think that the NDC, if you look at our messaging these past weeks, has been on the point that we will win. But I don't think you've heard any NDC person tell you that we will win 160 seats or we will win 60%.
Is the NDC doing any internal polls?
Oh, I'm sure. Definitely. Everybody does internal polls. But what I'm saying is that I think.
What does the poll say?
Oh, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you that. What I can tell you is that everybody has a very realistic outlook towards it. That we are very hopeful that we will do well. I don't think that, and depending on the I look at the parliamentary, I say that if the NDC does not smash the MPP in the parliamentary elections like we must, then this election, the presidential, can actually go into a second round. It's very, very possible. But if we smash them, and unfortunately, I don't see the smashing the way I would want. That's why I think that it can be a very close election on the D-Day, because you see, someone said something that D-Day activities also have its own dimensions, like mobilization, for example. Who is able to mobilize your supporters to come in? So, for example, as a branch chairman, I'm looking at how am I going to get out my supporters first to vote early, and then how am I going to go out there and look for people who are, so you are looking for vehicles to be advantage points to get people on board to go vote. You are looking at the elderly. If your D-Day mobilization is not on point, and because Greater Accra, contrary to what initially I thought would be like a 30 to 5 seat margin, I'm looking at from the last I'm looking at probably NDC 2023, and I'm saying that look, there are seats that we won like Winchi and others where in this election we won't win them. So if you are able to get some, like for example, if we are able to get like 30 or 31 seats in Greater Accra, then it will make up for some of the seats that we clearly will lose elsewhere. The MPP is also not safe in certain places, but they have changed the 100 candidates. That for me is always my headache when I go and sleep. You understand that? And I always say my own example in Trobo, for example. Part of our strategy was Moses Parker. Moses Parker was very unpopular. So when you have an unpopular incumbent, then your parliamentary strategy is less difficult. But then they bring in this fresh woman who is giving us wahala. Giving us wahala.
This is an admission, eh?
Yeah. It's giving us wahala. So you see,
Abdul Basir said I should ask you something. He says that needs analysis on it. Needs analysis on it not being DMB's time makes me wonder if that's how the NDC really feels.
No, but you see,
I have my doubts.
See, you see,
their actions on the ground doesn't suggest Bawumia is a pushover.
No. See, anybody that initially, a lot of my compatriots and comrades felt that look, kwata crowd, Dr. Bawumia with everything probably 30, 32, 33%. The man has gone on the ground and the man has worked. You can't take that away from him. That you see, he didn't come out as a candidate who is, oh, I've been anointed by President Akufo-Addo, so I'm going to sleep. No, you see the man in the rain. You see the man. See, the point is this: when somebody, as they say, you can criticize the tortoise for being slow. You understand? Sorry, you can criticize. I don't know this, but when a man give a man his due, you understand? And the man has worked, and he is working. You see, he has the right mental attitude towards the election. That look, I am fighting an election. This is not somebody who sees himself as a vice president, and so because I'm a vice president, I'm going to everywhere I go. Yes, I must have them. No. The man is on the ground. And when you have a hungry candidate, he's a dangerous candidate. That's for me. I honestly, when I keep saying that, when you are managing a former president who is running, I think that it is a more difficult process to manage than when you are managing a candidate who has never. Because you see, when you've never been something before, your hunger. Because look, you see the trappings of power, you see the things that go with the position, and you want it. It's different when you have been there. Because when you have been there before, hell, if I don't win, well, I'm back to. I've done it before.
Kamal Dean says that. So, Uncle Nee, you think NDC is winning this election? DMB shall shock you.
Oh, that's why I have said here that the shock will be if Dr. Bawumia wins the election. That will be the shock. It's not if President Mahama wins. And I keep telling you, look, back in the look. Let me give you the formula. If Dr. Bawumia should lose this election, the only thing is he concedes, does a thank you tour, and the next 6 months he calls for an early Congress. That gives him a 2-year advantage. The NDC can only hold the Congress in power in the year of the election. And you can see the contesting. You probably will have a sitting vice president who may some people may push to this thing. You have a chairman who is interested. So you have. It is going to be. It is very complicated for us.
Okay.
You understand? So here you are with a clear leader who is young. You understand? And who has potential. And he starts any race against anybody with 41 or 42%. He's billboard. I was telling my colleagues when we went out for an election that look, if Dr. Abdulrahman should lose this election, the way I've seen his billboards, who is going to remove them? He's already marketed. You understand? So the MPP honestly don't have an issue. We, the NDC, have an issue. One, we've got to. I understand. See, I cannot fight for those of us who wanted somebody who could do 2 terms. Our point was that we wanted somebody who could do a 2-term run. But I have to also admit that, look, winning power is also important. If you are in opposition, you cannot implement anything. So for those who make the argument that we should go with President Mahama because he is the one who could easily win the election, I have been convinced. My point is, let us ensure that we don't take anything for granted.
Okay. So in other words, you are saying that the NDC's message is resonating. They have mobilized, they have momentum. But you think Dr. Bawumia equally has momentum?
Oh, he has huge momentum.
So Kamaldeen
in fact, he will wish that the campaign would go on for a bit more.
Kamaldeen says that on D-Day you will wake up late and your car would have a flat tire, and he's referring to you. So that is Kamaldeen's message. Yes, Doc, I'm coming to you now. Because you haven't had a bite on mobilization and momentum. But let me see whether you have. Yes, I know that. So let me see if I can get any other messages out of the way. Abdul Basit Mahama, I agree with. Okay, so Eunice Champoman says he agrees with Abdul Basit Mahama. I was going to say the same. We know people may have other commitments, but should not take the show back when so they are fighting you for coming late and me allowing you to take the show back. So Abdul Basit Mahama says that for the flow of the show to be maintained, latecomers should continue on the current topic of mobilization.
I didn't go back.
And in their conclusion remarks may chip in their take on already discussed issues. Yes. So Abdul Basit Mahama and Yunus, he didn't go back. We are sure that he didn't go back. Says Zato, please don't put your trust on Musa Dankwa's post. He sits in Accra and make calls in NDC strongholds. If you happen to monitor him on Channel 1 TV evening show, the point of view, so he's talking about the point of view when Salome host him and proved Professor Smart Sapon, you would understand he doesn't do diligent work. Okay, so Musa Dankwa under fire. Siniani, congratulations for showing up early. That is Abdul Basit Mahama's message to you. And then quickly, if I can read any other messages. Okay, so I think that's the messages for now. Doc, mobilization.
I think Doc will know my if I use more time so that I can.
So that you can leave. Okay, yeah. So let him wrap up, and then I'll come to Doc.
And I like the fact that remember what I was talking. He wasn't here, but remember his analysis started and then exactly where we was. That momentum has swung. We both agree that. He's surprised at how he did, but again, in fact, if you look at the analysis, you would think you were copying me. You were copying my notes because we said that the DMB did something. Look. I've watched political campaigns. DMB came to He did almost 1 week in Upper West Region.
Yeah.
Every single constituency he's gone. And it's not the fly. No, he goes. I remember when he went to Sisala West Gulu, he had to go and visit the chief. Then when he was leaving, the PC said, no, it was Gulu market day. He came out. He walked in the market. Walked until finally he got in the car, went to the rally. He went everywhere. He was visible. People saw him. And people saw... For me, my question now is how he hasn't lost his voice completely. We need to ask the medical doctors. Sometimes when you see breaking, you get calls. The guy went, look, I've seen him at close range, how hard he's sweating. The guy's a bed. He's the first to start before. I don't know what he's jogging or he's going to the car. Nobody's running after him. I don't know where the energy has come from. Seriously, if you see him on the campaign trail, he's a beast. Literally one place to another coming down. He works at, and that's when he said because he realized that he had a lot of ground to make. And he made it. And that's the Upper West Region. So he went there for almost 5-6 days, literally a day, almost a day each in each constituency, which is a lot of ground to cover. So that is part of what is. And he's right. So he's telling people that I'm not an anointed guy. Look at me. I'm not a traditional, if you want to say traditional MPP leader. had to break so many barriers where I am. So I'm not taking anything for granted. He's fighting for every single vote. And so one of the reasons why you've seen a momentum is that the party has coalesced around him and just move forward. And then you move to the others. Is the message. And that is the point Nico was trying to make. That you have a younger, smarter, intelligent, hardworking leader who is there, and his demeanor is good. So far, I'm saying political communication. Jerry John Rawlings had something I couldn't take away from him. He was one of the best political communicators of his time. Kufuor was royal. Kufuor is not good at oratory when he's there. Rawlings is. He can change the topic. Rawlings is like Trump. He can talk about anything and dominate the news throughout. Apart from that, if you're looking at another candidate who has mastery on this, is Bawumia. Look, whatever it is, he just loves to stand and put a microphone in front of him and let there be an adoring crowd in front of him, and he will Obama you right now. He will talk, he will convince you. There's a reason why JDS says I won't debate this guy, because he can't, you can't debate somebody like that who has, he has the statistics at his fingertips. He can tell a story, he can weave an economic, a financial story, a political story, a poverty story together. Such a person is a powerful and a difficult challenger to have if it's a boxing ring, he's more of Muhammad Ali, okay? He's thing like a bee, he flies like a butterfly, not the other butterfly. But and I remember Wilberforce, I sat in this studio with you and I told you that in these elections, the so-called third parties, Alan Tramantan's party and this guy will not make any impact. I told you that, and I stand by it. You will see the results. Afamfranto, or whatever it's called, butterfly. And
Ghanaians don't like throwing away their vote.
I tell you, because the African Ghanaian voter is a very discerning voter. Look, those doing well, they are still flirting with them.
They may like them, but
yeah. They like them, but at the end of the day, they want to bank their votes. That's the most important thing. You did it, Wilberforce, when you were in secondary school, you dated a lot of girls, But there were some of them, you will not take home to mama. You know that. He knows that. He knows that. He dated a lot of girls. They are so this one I'm not taking to mama.
It was the rather.
No, it was him.
Now they will confess.
Yes, you believe, right?
Yeah. So it happens. You know that
you are friends.
That means you're a lover boy.
Exactly. You see, the bad boys. You see, the cry guy, the prosecutors. But you know that this is not this is the party girl. This is a fan girl. That's not the one I'm taking home to the pastor. I'm taking home to mama. That's the way Ghanaians were treating Alan and this and Niger. Like, yeah, they are nice. They will say, but no, because see, on election night, everybody wants to be on the winning side. Every Ghanaian wants their vote to become on the winning side. So they are not going to throw it away. They know voting for this, we're going to throw it away. So for me, the question is who benefits from this consolidating? Who benefits from this? And that is why you now see this commission of the projects and things I'm talking about. They are now trying to tell the floating voters, look, come home. Come. You are here. We are delivering. We are campaigning. We are delivering. We are flying over. I have to go. I've not driven over the Bochebilante. I have to go and do that. Nia here is very nice, right? But you flew over the flower pot, right? It's beautiful. So that is it. So if you see the Nias and Co now trying to temper their optimism with reality, it means something has happened in the DMB camp, and it's something good. It means they've been able to say the guy has worked his butt off. Oh, sorry, pardon my French. He's done that. He's gone out there. He's run. You see, you've seen him with his dancing that is better than my bed. But those dances humanizes him. They made him look human. They made him look real. They made people, they are enduring. You understand? That's why they are memes now. You can use them for any meme you want. The guy has campaigned and he's telling us there's a new method of campaigning. Go to the people directly and make your case to them. And that is what you are seeing. So yes, the momentum has swung and the MPP has what it takes. You talk about the last day. The NDC used to have some militaristic kind of characteristics that helped them to mobilize very well. And they use that very well efficiently during the Rawlings times and even the early Mills and Hammer times. But the MPP has been learning. The question is, D-Day operations, who will come out with the people and make sure that every single member goes to the polls? Who can do that? I think that both parties have what it is in these modern days to organize and mobilize and send the people to vote. But as I said, momentum has swung, and I think that we are going to have our first Muslim president on January 7th.
Okay.
I think that, inshallah.
Okay. So now they said that Dr. Bawumia has been able to turn all Christians to be using inshallah.
I'm telling you. And all altar boys like me to say inshallah.
That was on Wednesday on our show. Okay, so Doc, I'm coming to you now, and everybody will allow you to speak. Anybody who is so Dr. Zato is leaving us.
Those of you who are right now, so I need to go.
Those of you who are his fan base, he's leaving us because he's going to teach his university students, and we have to allow him to go and teach. So Doc, thank you very much for coming. But to let you know that Dr. Zato is going to be on our network, including all the other 4 people here, for our election coverage. So our election coverage, all the 4 persons sitting here today are part of our guest list. They are all being contracted to be here. So Doc, thank you for coming. Okay, so the difference between President Mahama and Dr. Bawumia is simple. President Mahama has credibility issues, image redemption issues, and trust issues. He shouldn't have represented NDC. He will lose again. And that is Kwame Bequin. Kwame, thank you for your message. And that's where we are starting from, Doc. Is the MPP the party with the momentum and the mobilization power? And is money playing any role in it?
Okay, so obviously with the momentum, it is clear. Anybody who has been watching what's going on sees what is going on. And I think today, actually, Nia said a lot that I have to agree with, or I just naturally seem to agree with. Because, the only problems that we came up with is anytime when any country in the world goes through any kind of economic recession, the people are very likely to take out their anger on the government of the day, whether or not they were directly culpable in what brought up the economic problems. It happens everywhere. Even on Wednesday, we were also able to go into it that even all the elections that have happened so far, people have seemed to punish their governments. What has been able to change now and what has moved things into our favor, I'll go into that. But I just recently saw a tweet that someone just tweeted at me on Twitter. And it goes like, young Ghanaians, the fourth industrial revolution is reshaping economies and societies through technology and digitization. Ghana cannot afford to be left behind in this transformative era. We must fully embrace Dr. Bawumia's policies. When you look at the messaging and the rhetoric that is coming out of the MPP side, especially young people, they are looking for something better to hear. Okay, you are saying that the only message that the NDC, the opposition, is running on, and ex-President Mahama is Nyama Yedin. But you have been president before, and the Ghanaian people have the benefit of seeing what you did when Nyama were not doing. There are people that are young now, maybe they just started having families. They were there when they were working for 2 years and you said you will pay them for 3 months. And that was a large number of people. It wasn't like 500, 300 people. It was in the thousands, in the tens of thousands of people who have relatives, who have kids, who are still alive and are going to vote now. There are doctors that you weren't going to give conditions of service. There are a lot of things that people can point out that during your time, even when we didn't have this big of an economic challenge, you were unable to run things the way that pleased all of us, to the point that 1 million of us said a massive no to you. So that comes to play now. So perhaps if the NDC changed their candidates and they were able to now sell a completely different person, it might have been easier for them. But if you are bringing the same Mr. Mahama, who we know, who we were not pleased with, it sort of puts you on a lower note. So I think that has improved our momentum. And instead of them to really try and change the conversation and move it towards, okay, Mahama is new now, he's going to be doing this and that. No, they have only focused on reminding Ghanaians of the problem without providing any solutions. And as everybody has said, it's obvious that Dr. Bawumia is a different candidate. Yesterday, I was on one of the other media channels, and one of the production team was asking me, she just came from the north, blah, 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 and they are in such high spirits about the MPP. Why? What did we do to them? I just had one word for him: the candidate. Dr. Bawumia seems different. You can hate him all you want, but once the man starts talking and you listen fair-mindedly, you would see that this man has something that we should allow to come out. We should allow to see the light of day so that we see what comes out of it. Mahama doesn't have that advantage. We've seen what he had to offer before, and really it wasn't so impressive. So I think that has had like a really big impact on the momentum, and especially we've been able to substantially point out and drum home that it looks like the NDC people don't know what they are about. See, that conversation started a little on social media, and right now it's everywhere. You go down on the streets and the message has trickled down, and it's even on Wednesday when we asked the spokesperson for John Mahama posed a question and was massacred on Twitter, because that just seems to be the rhetoric of their campaign, and it's also a very easy message to sell. Just like Lee said, this is also a very easy message to sell. So I guess in the end, there will be a competition of these things, whether Ghanaians are just going to vote because they are angry, or whether they want something better for themselves. That's I think those are the two choices you have. If you are just angry, so you are going to throw all of us to the wolves so that whatever happens should happen, that is a vote.
But the psychologists say that decision making always starts from how people feel.
Yes, it's very emotional. So on that note, that's what gave the NDC that advantage to be going high, because somebody that has been rejected by 1 million people and suddenly has started with a lot of momentum. It was just riding on the anger of people. But we've had a very long time for people to sort of mitigate their emotions and now look, okay, so what is actually good for us? And once you open your eyes and see what is actually good for you, the options become crystal clear, and it only points in one direction. We were talking about mobilization as well. I think in that case, both parties, we've been around for a while, and both parties sort of have that party architecture that is set up to mobilize their people. And that is the reason why the other parties are never able to do anything significant in the election. You don't have a constituency structure, you don't have a regional structure. So on that day, my polling station, who is going to be going house to house to bring out people to vote for Alan or Cheddar? That's not going to happen. And that's actually where the magic happens, is on D-Day, getting the people out. Somebody might have been talking about Dr. Bawumia negatively the whole time, but that morning of the election, someone will tell that person something that will change the mind, and the person will go and vote. So that's very important. The D-Day mobilization is very important, and I think it's not lost on any of us, especially in the MPP. It's not lost on us at all. We are, as me said, we started this, even though we are in government, we started this as the underdogs. And it's not lost on us, because it's never been done for somebody to go a third term. So far as this republic is, it's very much in our minds that we are trying to do something unprecedented. But the mantra that we brought up with, it is possible, it's all that we are going with, because it absolutely is possible. It's looking good, momentum is on our side, and December 7th is coming. And so far as all MPP people come out and vote, all well-meaning Ghanaians come out and vote for what is actually good for them, I have no doubt that when we sit here again to discuss, we'll be discussing the swearing in of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Okay, so interesting thoughts there shared. And I'll come to Mr. Jantwa. Mr. Jantwa, I know you shared your thoughts on mobilization and momentum, but is money playing any significant role in this election? As previous elections, we've had the issue where there were criticisms that candidates were just sharing money and trying to buy votes and all that. Are we seeing that kind of conversation this time around, or this time around there's been more of issues?
Well, the conversation, it is not obvious that it is happening, but I'm sure it is happening to some degree. But it is not really being talked about. But Wilberforce, my dear doctor indicated the fact that, some of the things Dr. Bawumia is doing is also helping. Forgetting that you took over an economy that he said was in tatters. And everybody felt that with you coming on board, the new party coming on board, things would be far, far better than where it was when you came in. But things have gone back to where it was when you came in. And so it becomes very challenging for me to see an outright win for Vice President Bawumia. And I think I agree with me the expectations should be watered down. The expectations should be watered down and leave it till the day of the election. And yes, if it comes out that Vice President Bawumia has won, then it is a truism that he has won. Yes, perhaps you trying to, or the MPP trying to master that verve of we are winning, to change people's mind. Probably that is what they're trying to do. But people are also going through a lot of hardship, which they expected the MPP to have been able to resolve when they came in for the last 8 years, which really hasn't been resolved. So Dr. Bawumia would do his utmost to win, and President Mahama would do his utmost to win. And so far as I can see, it's between these two. I still believe the others will chip in. I still believe the others will chip in. I still believe the others can make things go into second round. And I really feel that this election will go second round. I don't think it's going to be an outright win for either Vice President Bawumia or President Mahama.
A lot of people want to avoid this second round thing that you talk about because of the stress it brings. You know, you have to wait, suspend Christmas, you have to reprint the cost, the mobilization. So they want to have a one-touch election.
Don't have control over that. Don't have control over that. Especially now that they are all in Ashanti.
Please come to your desk.
They are all in Ashanti. That should tell you something.
When you say all in Ashanti, you mean who?
I mean, Mahama is in Ashanti. The vice president.
My last check was in OT.
The running mate.
Yes, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe is in Ashanti. Yes.
And if the running mate is in Ashanti,
President Akufo-Addo just left Ashanti region a few days ago.
Ashanti region.
Yes.
It says something. It is up to the MPP to get over a certain percentage. It is up to the NDC to gnaw at them and increase their percentage there. And if the MPP do not get a certain percentage over and above, then it's going to be very challenging. That's why I feel this election will go second round. And I'll eat humble pie if it doesn't.
Christopher Abbey says that if the Ashanti region comes out, then MPP will win by 50.1.
With the assumption that everybody will vote for the MPP. That is the assumption. That is the assumption. That
but the same person says that
everybody who comes out means they are all going to vote for MPP.
But the same person says that going into December 7th, NDC has the edge. But for the parliamentary elections, the way the current NDC MPs have behaved may go against them. Wow. So he's the same person who comes to say that if the Ashanti region comes out to vote, then MPP will win 50.1.
Well, I keep saying, agree form on the day. People's minds can change on that particular day. The polling booth, they can change on that day. So for me, all these polls, yes, it could be an indication, but it's not the real thing.
Okay, Kwame Beku says that is it Kwame Beku or I don't know.
Depends on how he spells it.
It's actually Bekoe.
Bekoe.
Beku. Yes, Kwame Beku. So Kwame Beku says that there is a saying that heaven helps those who help themselves. Dr. Bawumia is campaigning like he is in opposition, and it's yielding results. The NDC thought they could ride on the hardships. Meanwhile, President Mahama has not outlined any policy to curtail the struggling city, how to keep the lights on, how to sustain the free SHS considering the amount of money involved, since President Mahama, could not pay for the simple teachers and nurses training allowances. And so Kwame Beku is actually saying that the momentum is on the side of Dr. Bawumia because he's been campaigning like he's in opposition. JM in Koforidua demystified his 24-hour campaign message, saying it is not compulsory and that The benefits and structure will be outlined through policy when he is in power. This made me wonder whether the party has really sat down to discuss the 24-hour proposal. It seems every NDC member believes that, understanding what Mr. Mahama has in mind. Okay, so Abdul Basit Mahama, they're talking about Mr. Mahama's recent explanation about the 24-hour economy. Okay, so let's wrap up our conversation today. Please come to the microphone. I'm starting with you on this, and it has to do with the commissioning of projects. There's been a widespread commissioning of projects across the country, and some people say that it has a direct impact on the choices that people make in elections. I remember in 2016, your presidential candidate then, John Mahama, made a lot of noise with Circle Dubai, but Circle Dubai did not do the magic for him. Mr. President, I should say, President Akufo-Addo is not contesting, but it is his government that is doing the commissioning, and he is commissioning multiple projects, and the people of Ghana are now beginning to talk about the projects. Do you think it's going to have any impact on the elections and the fortune of the NDC?
Oh, I think that the commissioning of projects, it's about accounting to the people for your stewardship. You understand? You cannot be a president who came into office and after 8 years, when you are leaving, you have nothing to show for it. I mean, it's illogical. So at least the major projects that you have done, that you believe represent your legacy, you have a right to who will come and inaugurate them for you? Your opponent. It doesn't make sense. I hear President Kufuor was the one that gave this advice to President Mahama, that make sure you inaugurate every single project before you leave. So that's where the advice, because if you listen, I remember a speech by President Mahama, and he said in his interaction with,
I remember when President Kufuor inaugurated the Jubilee House.
Yeah.
Before he left office, you remember?
Yeah, he didn't even stay. I don't think he even stayed in.
No, he only went there to do one official.
Yeah, he never even stayed there for years. But I remember because I know he went there for the special, was passing. That was very like 2 or 3 months to the election. I said, this man was passing because he went to, but this man, you build this whole thing, you're not even going to sleep with him for every one night. But you see, and I think it speaks to, I have a case in court in respect of the President Mahama e-blocks. I felt that was a sad, and I've heard some of my MPP colleagues say that why should that when projects are politicized, politicians feel reluctant to continue them, and I'm like, why? The Afari military project for me is it's something that is unconscionable why we have not finished that project.
We are launching it next week.
Perfect. For me, it is very important.
Which one is that?
The Afari.
You know those are you just present.
Yeah, I understand that. It's not about them. It's about the fact that exactly that those.
Sorry, Sewa is next week.
So yeah, I've not heard about the Afari project.
So this is also
there were some hospitals. I've seen some of them being. For me, I'm in love with Agenda 111. I think that those hospitals must be completed, and the fact that some of the major hospitals were left after President Mahama left, some of them were left and have not been completed. You know, there was this chief has always been crying about. I don't know whether they've done it for him. It's one of the chiefs in Ashanti region. The project was, he said, it was almost like 70% or 80% complete. He had to lead his chiefs to go and read the place. He's always complaining whenever any. I'm not sure. But I need to.
Now we finished all of it for Ashanti.
Those hospital projects, the secondary schools, for example, at the end of the day, they are for our kids. You see, if you have kids and you see some of these projects, you weep. That look. I love the new model kindergarten that Dr. Educhum is doing. But my point has always been that, what about those other projects, the e-blocks, for example? Was there a need not to complete them? Because the Constitution requires that past projects of past governments must be continued. And because at the end of the day, it is our taxpayers' money. When you refuse to do those projects and they become deteriorated, when you want to restart them, they cost more. So every government gives handing over notes. Those handing over notes indicate projects ongoing, projects started. Do we need a law that says that when you take over the list of projects, you are not allowed for that? That's the point. You should not be allowed to start new projects until you complete the old ones. Because this thing about the fact that you didn't start it, so if you complete it, as politicians, we must be tone deaf to certain criticisms. And so when you hear that it is because the opposition has been criticizing the government on certain projects, so the government had decided to slow down or ignore those projects and start new ones. Building new secondary schools, for example, didn't make sense to me. Because you can remodel the older ones, which you say were not in line with certain things, to become like what you want them to be. So those E-blocks, for example, if they had been finished on an emergency budget, would have solved this track system that we have. These new buildings also are supposed to have bungalows for teachers. The part of the criticism is that most of the E-blocks were day schools, and so they didn't have boarding facilities. What prevents us from putting the boarding facilities in them? You understand? You see? So I just plead that the projects that will not be finished, and I think President Mahama has given an assurance that he will continue, and I know he's a brick and mortar kind of guy. We need to finish the projects that have not been completed, because some of the projects are not completed and they will not be completed. Some of the Agenda 111 projects must not be allowed, because if we've identified 110 districts in our country not to have district hospitals, and Doc is a doctor, you speak to the health needs of these people, you need to, because at the minimum, these district hospitals provide basic healthcare solutions to when you have hernia, when you have pregnancy-related complications. These hospitals should be able to deal with some of these so that we save lives. Mortality rates will go down among others.
I'm seeing that they are showing some of the STEM school facilities.
Yes, the STEM schools. Yes. But what about the existing ones? You understand? So we should.
This is not easy.
We should merge old regime projects to new regime projects and ensure that if for nothing at all, I'll probably talk to Ablakwa to try and introduce a private members bill among all my friends who are MPs, that projects that are begun, if you are a new government and you inherit your transitional arrangements.
But this private members bill thing, I think this is something that can be initiated by government instead of doing private members bill. Because this private members bill thing is having so many problems.
No, but you see, the IEA did led the Transition Act. In some of these bills, because of the political issues that arise, if it is led by non-political persons, even I would go for civil society. If the civil society can give us a bill, you understand, with the buy-in of all the political parties, it's easier to pass. When the bill comes from a partisan, you have the free SHS bill, which is currently, all those bills, we should get to the point where we begin to do some bipartisan things. You understand? Certain things go beyond NDC, MPP. They're about Ghana. You understand? So when it comes to certain bills, we should be able to go across the political divide. But
the transition bill that you talked about, it was proposed by the IEA, but government accepted it, and then it was drafted and presented to Parliament. So it was passed as an act by.
Oh, I understand. Yes. Yes. But you see, but the buy-in, because a lot of the work was done by the CSOs, it was easier to get
it through.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Jantua, I'll come to you now and then our lady will have the last word. And Tekpo says that I like Nick Papo's admission of Dr. Bawomia's energy and his style of campaigning. What Nick Papo has to know is that patience and humility are two powerful energies that is moving Dr. Bawumia. He is working hard in silence, and success is making the noise by Commissioner General's unprecedented commissioning of massive projects in the last minute. Adri Kesie Adudi, it is possible. And Peter Zato, I don't know whether Peter Zato is related to Dr. Zato, who has just left us, but Peter Zato says that the silent majority will speak in favor of Dr. Bawumia in this election. Dr. Bawumia will get not less than 50.8% of the votes and a clear majority in Parliament. We can't afford to miss the golden opportunity of leadership of grace. Dr. Bawumia is a man of grace, and certainly grace will speak. Grace will speak in his favor. Okay, so that is Peter Zato's message. Thank you, Peter, for your message. And then Christopher says that Nana Addo has continued and finished more legacy projects than JDM and the entire NDC government. So that is a response to you, Nick Papu. Christopher is saying that to the best of his knowledge, Nana Addo has continued with projects that he inherited from John Maham's government. What I find intriguing about the NDC's posture on some of the commissioned projects is their apparent attempt to either downplay their significance or claim ownership while distancing themselves from the associated debt and loans. So you accuse the government of excessive borrowing to finance these projects, yet you want to take credit for them. What kind of logic is that? And that is Abdul Basit Mahama asking a very important question. This is the right time for commissioning of projects. It looks fresh in our minds since some of us have short memories as pronounced by President Mahama. So, Ms. Jantwa, commissioning of projects, a good omen?
Wilberforce, remember that President Akufo-Addo has had more time than President Mahama. President Mahama was 4 years. President Akufo-Addo is 8 years. So it would be strange if President Akufo-Addo doesn't have more projects than President Mahama. Whether those projects, some more could be added to it, is a question that needs to be asked. But yeah, the projects that President Akufo-Addo has inaugurated, it has an essence to the people, doesn't it? It brings some ease to the people, especially road projects, and even some of the schools that he's inaugurating. But he did promise us that 111 will be done in 18 months. Vice President Bawumia is saying he will continue 111. And for me, sometimes that is the challenge, that you give a time scale, people expect that time scale to happen, and then it doesn't, and it goes into the next government. And if the next government comes and they don't want to push it through, it becomes a challenge. But the Constitution does tell us that perpetual succession is rife. You should be able to continue what your previous government,
your predecessor left.
It is something that needs to be done. The question is, at that point of you doing continuing, are there funds available? Have you been able to budget well? Have you taken that into consideration? So right now, both MPP and NDC, who are the main front runners, are looking at coming into power. Have they assessed the projects that have been built by the MPP and would go into the next government? Has it been assessed? And if it's been assessed, has it been have they taken cognizance of what it would take to continue? That's why sometimes I keep saying, in certain sectors of our economy, we shouldn't do partisan politics on them because it affects everybody. Well, in terms of whether it...
Those of you who are watching on Facebook, Ms. Jantwa, what you are seeing is the commissioned electric buses, which is expected to reduce bus fares largely once they go on. I think, have they started operation already? The buses, they've started operation
when they were
as soon as they were, because I saw the vice president in one ride be like that with some young lady. Okay,
so even on these buses, you ask the question: is it government buses or is it Vice President Bawumia buses?
It's government buses. It's under.
Okay,
yes.
So it is government who bought it.
Yes.
Huh?
It's an initiative. He says that he believes that one of the ways to reduce fares is to go electric because you don't have to buy fuel.
So it's in the budget.
Yes,
it's in the budget.
Yes,
it was in the budget.
But it is also in his. The enhancement of it is in his campaign promise.
No, I want to know whether the money they used to bought it was in the budget.
No, yes, this was budgeted.
This was in the budget.
Yes, it was in the last budget that was read.
If it's in the budget, then it's fine with me.
Yes, it was.
If it is not in the budget, that is where the question marks are. But
so I'm hearing that the fare from Oyarefa or something to Accra, Oyibi to Accra is about 8 cedis.
I believe
on the bus.
Wilberforce, I believe that if you're going to look at the public transport system, it has to be holistic. It has to be holistic. Bringing in electric buses are good, but how does it fit in? We want a situation where Ghanaians would take their cars off the road and everybody will go by public transport as much as possible. So what kind of plan is there to make sure that the public transport system is acceptable to all and everybody would be prepared to take it?
Okay. So all right.
So on whether it makes an impact, it depends on the individual. The
ordinary Ghanaian.
Would look at the Commission of Projects, say, it's a good thing. Others too will look at something else to decide. So,
by and large, you think that it will make some impact, but it depends on the individual.
It depends on the individual.
Okay. Dr. Kuya, you have the last word on this matter.
It always makes some impact, but whether that impact is massive enough is a question mark.
Okay. Doctor, you have the last word. We are your hands.
So I think it just really puts the initial assertion by the NDC that we have nothing to show for our 8 years in power. It just kills that argument, because I always say, if you look at every sector holistically and you look at it with a fair mind and you are just trying to do an intellectual analysis on the record, what happened between 2000 and 2008, what happened between 2009 and 2016 and 2017 till now, it is clear that the MPP government always outdoes the NDC government, and the facts are there. I'm not saying it. You can go and take the documents and go through. In healthcare, in roads, in everything, it's always clear cut. And this is something we used to say, but people will argue with you and I don't blame them, because they didn't have access to the facts. So now we are showing them. That's all this is about. See, in education, about 81 projects in one day. It doesn't mean that between 2017 to 2020 nothing happened. But because we didn't put it together and show it all to you, people will argue with you. See, the matter of even these e-blocks, so let me start from education and I'll come to Agenda 111 and all of that. The e-blocks, we were able to add about 14 of them. We've completed about 14. But the structure of the way those e-blocks were built did not really fit into our overarching plan for the education sector. As you can see, our direction was building STEM level institutions and trying to really revolutionize the system. We're not just going to build more classroom blocks for the sake of building classroom blocks. And the issue with the e-blocks was the lack of accommodation and lack of the accommodation for the teachers as well. Because people were actually posted to some of the e-blocks that were completed by the Mahama administration. The teachers refused to go because it was sort of remote and the day school, so a lot had to be done to it to make it operationalized. We didn't abandon them. We've operationalized a lot of the e-blocks by adding dormitories and then accommodation for the staff. So to the best we could do to make that usable for our model, we did. In the matter of health, and all of this goes to buttress that everything we are doing and everything we started, it is absolutely better, and it is actually something that we all should be interested in, to vote for continuity so that we can finish, because the records are there. What happens to projects when NDC comes into power? This time, let me just be absolutely blunt. Because we saw President Kufuor had a beautiful plan for these Eurojet hospitals, about 8 of them. So Sewa is part Aferi, even Ga East. It was supposed to be Adenta Medina. That's what it was called. Let me refer to the document so that I give you. Tepa was part in Soko, Wa, Konongo Dumase, Salaga. The plan was there, the loans had already been, a lot of the work was done that, it should have been completed a long time ago. But what happened? In the 8 years, nothing really, it was tortoise piece. Most of it was abandoned. Even the projects that John Mahama himself started, he wasn't able to finish. The ones that he commissioned in 2016 were all projects that were started by his predecessor, which, I mean, based on what he said, he needed that 8 years. And you come to Agenda 111 and our ability to finish in 18 months. If you look at everything I've told you, it means in this country, no hospital has even been built even in 4 years before. It has not happened. So the fact that we've been able to construct the first tranche of 30, The building is done. The wiring is done. Everything is done, and we started putting in the equipment one by one. 5 I have seen myself, so I can hit my chest and say 5 of them are ready, such that if we want to start seeing patients in 2 weeks in those 5, we can do it. I think that is marvelous. It's never been done before, and so we should praise that instead of really holding strictly to the timeline. Because if you look at it, then the UHS hospitals, it has taken close to 16 years. So it takes,
because it started during President Kufuor's time.
2008 is when even the Bekwai Hospital, apparently that even was before Kufuor's time, but he started to get new funding for the project. So it's actually, we've shown great commitment to getting things done. And I think all of these commitments must be protected, especially for continuity, because the first thing ex-President Mahama said about Agenda 111 is that it is overly ambitious. And I'm very confident that this U-turn is just because he has seen just how monumental the thing is. So you can't, especially in an election season, you can't continue to throw dust at it. But I believe strongly that he has no idea how to get it done. Because you cannot expect to know how to do something better than the planners or framers of the thing. You were not there when we were making up our minds on Agenda 111. So why should we leave it to you to come and complete? So everything that has been started by the MPP government, that most people are now beginning to realize, because we are doing show and tell now. When we say it, we are showing you the thing. It's not green book antics. The physical things are there. If we want all of these things to continue, there's only one way to assure the continuity of these projects, and that's by maintaining the MPP. Because you cannot really trust that ex-President Mahama will be able to handle Agenda 111 or will be able to do it in the way that we wanted to do it. There's no reason to take that risk. And everything they were saying about you've borrowed so much, blah, blah, what have you used the money for? We've shown you what we've used the money for. And we've outperformed your record in every single sector, in roads, in healthcare, in education, everything. Even if you want to talk about the economy, ex-President Mahama has been president before, and he shepherded the economy that was growing at a very sluggish rate. President Nanado said that, and so let me borrow his word. And the facts are there. Go and look at the growth. And even after we had just come into an oil revenue, the economy was contracting, not growing. Now, even after everything we've gone through with the COVID recession, and I hope you will play ex-President Mahama's video, so that we will hear him admitting that COVID pushed a lot of African countries.
We have actually played that video several times.
Yes, it doesn't matter. Now we have just 1 week. Let's play it every day. So people actually know that we've actually been through something great. And for this government to be able to have done all of this in the midst of everything we've been through is something.
Okay. So unfortunately, we ran out of time. Yeah, so I'm going to end the show there today. But this message is, so Christopher Abe says that, Mr. Jantwa, NDC has claimed all Professor Mills's projects for JDM, and still it doesn't match up to Nanado's project. Seriously, please ask D if he still stands by his claim that apart from the free SHS, MPP has done nothing. I think that's what he wanted to say. So I think Ni has revised his notes. He says that MPP has done a lot, just as much as others have done. And then Ruben says that who is the ordinary Ghanaian and who is the special Ghanaian? I don't think that there is anything like that. When we use the word or the phrase ordinary Ghanaian, we are trying to refer to you and I, that we are the Ghanaians. So there's nothing like special Ghanaian. We only use the phrase ordinary Ghanaian to refer to people like Mr. Jantwa, people like me, people like Doctor, people like Nick Papo. That's all that it means. If you want us to take the word ordinary from it and just say Ghanaians, we will do that. But we are not saying that there are special Ghanaians and there are ordinary Ghanaians. There's nothing like that. Okay, so last message. I think Jantwa has seen more days in his life. Does he remember Dr. Tony Edo's comment that the NDC must not continue MPP's projects that they were unable to complete? But the MPP mindset is different, and they have completed a lot of E-blocks. Even Omanibu Ame's son has admitted at one of the E-blocks at Kwabenya, he refused. He refused. Okay, so he said he wants Legon Presec. Ghanaians will remember Nanado. That's why they were calling him Free SHS in Kumasi. It is already possible. And that is Lee Tekpo ending our show for today. My guest who joined me for the show this blessed Saturday morning the 30th day of November 2024. It is just 1 week to the elections, and Asasi Radio, your election nerve center, is going to begin our election coverage in the coming week. And so we'll roll out our program. I believe we are starting somewhere Thursday or so, and we are going to be coming up with series of programs ahead of the elections. We have reporters in all 276 constituencies in our country. We are going to have a host of panel members, from editors to doctors to lawyers to what have you. Everybody's going to be here. We are going to go very heavy on election 2024 beginning from the coming week, and so I invite you to join us in that endeavor. This show attendance today, Dr. Ekuya Amwako. She's a medical doctor and she's a member of the MPP National Communications team. Mr. Kwame Jantua is a lawyer. He is a member of the Convention People's Party. He's very much a part of the furniture here at Asasi Radio. Nick Pakpo Samoa Ado is are you you are the head of chambers at Ado and Ado legal attorneys, and then also a lecturer at the Gimpa Law Faculty, and he is a member of the National Democratic Congress. And then Dr. Zato joined us. He left earlier. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana.